The Oakland athletics season is in full spring training mode. The roster for the green and gold is beginning to take shape under the desert sky. And now its fourth season, the new and improved Hohokam Stadium has become a great second home for the green and gold. Tonight, the boys of summer play under the lights in Mesa as they take on their rivals from the Northwest. A's Mariners next. We are at Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona, the spring training home of your Oakland A's. Tonight, exhibition baseball. We get to see the big left-hander, 6'7" A.J. Puck, and we are looking forward to that. It's the Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners. It's coming up on NBC Sports California, powered by Xfinity. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another season of Oakland A's baseball here at NBC Sports California. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. We are ready to go, but it is spring training for us
That's
as well.
right.
Now, listen, 2 weeks from tonight, or 2 weeks from actually this afternoon, it'll be the home opener for the Athletics. A's are still looking for their rotation pieces 3, 4, and 5. Tonight, Ray, A.J. Puck is going to get the start. He has a chance to be one of those guys. But whatever happens with this guy, we think he's going to be a star in the league for a long time.
Well, he's definitely going to be a star, Kai. But I think at the end of this game, we want everybody at home to evaluate what A.J. Puck does tonight, because this young man has done nothing to disappoint anybody so far in this spring. He's been outstanding. Remember, he was drafted in 2016, just a couple of years ago. Here he is in spring training. He's lights out. He's given up one run. It's unearned. So he's really been almost perfect all spring. Now, people will say, well, you start the clock too soon, may not make the ball club. Eventually, he will be with the A's, and he's going to have a great career.
And it's a big decision for the Athletics,
Absolutely.
and they're going to have to make that in the next couple weeks. Now, it is a cool, breezy night in Mesa, but a very nice crowd at Hohokam Park. Why not? Exhibition baseball in the Valley of the Sun. A's and Mariners lineups and first pitches coming up. We're looking forward to it, and we hope you are as well.
By Toyota. with more models over 40 mpg than any other manufacturer. Toyota, let's go places. By Southwest, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Jack in the Box, come try the new food truck series, featuring 3 new food truck-inspired sandwiches, only at Jack in the Box.
Welcome back to beautiful Hohokam Park, and as you can see, blankets, heavy jackets, sweatshirts, so it is a cool, breezy night, Ray, and it has not been a warm spring training.
You know, and I don't know that anybody who lives here will complain, because it's going to be about 115, 120 before long, but it has been an unusually cooler, sometimes rainy spring training. It started earlier this year because the season has started earlier. There's the big, tall left-hander, A.J. Puck, getting ready to take the mound. Ryan Christensen in the background, who part of the celebration before the game, now the A's new bench coach. But Kite, it has been a cool spring, and by the time the A's leave a week from Saturday after the game, head back to the Bay Area, it'll probably start to warm up.
Of course. But it doesn't matter. The fans come to spring training, you're going to have a great time, and no matter what the weather is, the fans will indeed do that, not just in this ballpark, but in all the spring training ballparks around the Valley of the Sun. We like this one. This is a good one.
And as we always say, it's great. You know, the Mariners this spring will play 12 night games. This is the A's game tonight. They've already had one. They'll have, I think, one more. But the bottom line, fans get a chance to watch day games someplace. And in the Valley, there are 15 teams, as we always say. You get a chance to come and watch a night game tonight. Good crowd will be on hand. A lot of Seattle Mariners fans coming from Peoria in that area. And everybody's here to watch that young man, A.J. Puck, as we are.
Yes. Well, whether we were televising or not, I think we would probably be here, because I'm looking forward to seeing the big fella pitch. So Puck takes them out, as do the rest of the Oakland A's. So we're just about set for baseball from Mesa. Let's check out the starting lineup for the Seattle Mariners, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It is not the same lineup that we will see from the Mariners during the regular season. Gordon Beckham is at short, Mitch Haniger in right, Seager at third, Junior Lake is the left fielder. Then it's Mike Ford, Taylor Motter, David Freitas, Evan White, Braden Bishop. That is your Seattle Mariners starting lineup.
And you're exactly right. A.J. Puck, should he make the club, will not be facing that lineup during the regular season. But for Puck, he's making his 4th start. And actually his 3rd start. He is making just an unbelievable appearance so far this spring. See the long hair, 6'7", 225-pounder. He is already, thanks to the Bob Melvin, the A's skipper, has had a visit with the tall one, Randy Johnson, the Hall of Famer with the Diamondbacks. He and Sean and I both met with Randy Johnson, the big unit. And if this young man, and he has improved tremendously under the tutelage of Gil Patterson, the A's minor league pitching instructor. He travels around, but he has done a tremendous job with this young man. In just a short amount of time, drafted in 2016, and here he is pitching a big league camp as a non-roster invitee.
Defensively behind A.J. Puck, the Athletics will look like this. Pinders in left, Smolinski in center, Piscotti, the new right fielder for the Athletics. So we get our first look at him in the green and gold. Chapman, Simeon, Lowry, and Olsen. That's a pretty good young infield. We're excited about that. And Josh Fegley is behind the plate. Fegley throws the ball down to second base. And Bob Melvin, we're going to talk to him in just a little bit. He's going to be part of our show tonight, but it's going to be a fun night here at the ballpark. Bob will join us in the bottom of the 3rd. So that is the A's coaching staff, and it's a different group. Ryan Christensen is now the bench coach. Emerson, Emu, they're back. Bush is back. Eldredi's back. El Padrique's new. Matt Williams new. So some turnover in the coaching reins, but all good guys, and we're looking forward to working with them all year. Puck's first pitch is in for a strike to Gordon Beckham.
Cap, you know what I'm looking forward to? Not only to watch A.J. Puck pitch, but to televise the game, to be able to watch the monitor and just see how effective the young man is, because so far, not been able to see him except distance-wise, but be able to see him with the monitor, and the young man knows how to pitch.
That one is driven toward the gap in left center field. Over to cut it off is Smolinski, so it's a long single for Gordon Beckham, and that's how the ball game gets going here from Mesa. So Beckham, the veteran, he leads things off with a hit.
He tries to pitch inside, does A.J. Puck. This ball left up a little bit too much and got too much to the plate. And Gordon Beckham, who we saw make his major league debut for the White Sox several years ago, now with the Seattle Mariners.
and a veteran player that I'm sure the Mariners would love to see on their roster.
So here's Mitch Haniger. He will be one of the regulars for the Mariners when the season starts. First pitch is a strike. So for A.J. Puck, 22 years old, he's 6'7", 225 pounds. He grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, made his way down to the University of Florida, and then the very high draft pick, 6th pick overall, as Ray said, in the 2016 draft. And talking to scouts, Ray, about Puck, a lot of people thought he may be the #1 overall pick in that draft, but scouts will tell you he's actually significantly more polished as a pitcher now than he was when he was in college, even though it was only a couple years ago.
Absolutely, and again, you could give credit to Gil Patterson because he had him last year and he worked with him, and he has improved tremendously to the point now it's going to be a tough decision whether they keep him or not.
Simeon, Lowry, Olsen. We hope we say that a lot this year. It works there. 6-4-3 double play, just like that, 2 outs.
And we talk about A.J. Puck getting in on the hands. He did with Mitch Haniger, and watch the turn at second base. Jed Lowry, very smooth, the veteran at second base. And many thought last year that he might not still be with the ball club, but there's the tall left-hander's motion. He jams Haniger, turns it into a 6-4-3 double play that quickly. And I think with the veteran Seager coming up, this is a test for the young A.J. Puck. Lefty on lefty, and Kyle Seager knows how to play.
First pitch runs off the plate outside.
Let's not forget also that Seager seems to hit left-handers very well, as we have seen throughout his time in the major leagues.
That one, did it get Seager? No, as he turned back out of the way. Looked like an off-speed pitch from A.J. Puck. So 2-0 the count. You got to be careful here. See what Puck throws Seager. A bona fide middle of the order hitter. Roll foul for A.J. Puck. The A.J. stands for Andrew Jacob, if you're wondering about that.
I thought maybe the Green Bay Packers would have been hoping he would stay with football.
Yeah, he was a big football star.
Big quarterback. But you know, he has a modified windup. Now he looks like he's out of the stretch, but watch the right foot. He'll start, and that's just kind of a start for him. And then a lot of guys have gone to almost the no windup to eliminate a lot of movement in the delivery, but A.J. starts right there with the right foot, just a little bit to get him going, almost like a hitter with a trigger, and then he lets it go. I would say, young man, don't change a thing because he's a very good pitcher.
It seems like it's a fairly simple delivery. I don't want to say compact because that'd be hard to have a compact delivery and be 6'7". On the ground is Simeon. Make that Chapman, who was sliding over with the shift on. He throws out Seager, side retired. So pretty good first inning for A.J. Puck. lineup. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Many familiar names: Marcus Semien, Chad Pinder, Jed Lowry, Chris Davis in the usual cleanup spot, Olsen, Piscotty, Chapman, Smolinski, and Fegley. That is your Oakland A's starting lineup. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines.
And they will see left-hander Ariel Miranda. Last year, 29 starts for the Mariners. You see the numbers this spring. He's making his 4th start, 1-0. He had a 5+ ERA last year. Not really overpowering as a left-hander. Keeps the ball away, a little off-speed pitch. But the A's get to see the stylish left-hander tonight.
Blake, Bishop, Haniger in the outfield. Seager, Beckham, Motter, Ford on the infield. Freitas is the catcher for Ariel Miranda. So the left-hander is set as Marcus Semien steps in. Marcus getting some time in the leadoff spot this spring. And it could be that's the way Bob Melvin is angling, as far as maybe if a left-hander is on the mound for the opposition, maybe Marcus Semien will be in that leadoff spot.
Dustin Fowler coming back after the serious injury last year when he's with the Yankees, acquired by the Athletics, and he has had a good spring, and of course they're taking a little bit easy with him. I think the A's would like to perhaps see him in the leadoff spot. But you're right about lefties, that maybe Marcus Semien will move up into that position.
Good numbers for Semien. 12 hits and 30 at-bats so far in spring training. A couple of RBIs.
A healthy Marcus Semien, because last year that was not the case this time of the year. And here he is, expecting to have a very good season. There's Dustin Fowler, the bearded one. Very smooth in the outfield. Of course, during spring training, as we have been able to see, Jonathan Lucroy did it yesterday, new signing with the Athletics, and same for Dustin Fowler to go to the minor league complex and get extra at-bats. There's Jonathan Lucroy. Joyce next to him, back for his 2nd year, but Lucroy, a late signing, and with the Rockies last year, along with the Texas Rangers. Previous to that, we saw him with Milwaukee Brewers. A very good catcher. Expected to get most of the catching duties this year.
So 2-2 the count, make it 3-2 to Marcus Semien. Pinder to follow, and then Lowry here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Miranda kicks and deals, and the ball's hit hard toward 3rd. Seager scoops it up, flips it across, and that is out number 1. So some of the offseason moves for the Athletics. Additions: Ryan Buchter, pretty good left-hander out of the bullpen. Lucroy, Pagan, Petit, so a little length in that bullpen with those 2 guys. That's going to help. And of course, Stephen Piscotty coming over from the Cardinals. And the subtractions: Jesse Hahn and Ryan Healy, who is a little bit banged up. Healy doesn't look like he's going to be quite ready. Have little hand surgery,
hand surgery, right? Yes.
So Healy, who will be the Mariners' everyday first baseman when healthy, but he may miss just a little bit of time to start the season. But we wish Ryan Healy the best of luck. Good young player.
And he went to school up in the Northwest, so it's good for him to go play for the Seattle Mariners, a team that I'm sure he grew up watching. He played up in the Northwest in college.
Pinder with a good swing. We're going to talk to Bob Melvin in the 3rd inning. We always look forward to our chat with the manager, something we can do during the spring training telecast, which is kind of fun. We're also going to chat with Jonathan Lucroy, Stephen Piscotty, a couple of the new Athletics. Hoping to chat with Matt Chapman and Matt Olson, I guess we could call them the Cornerstone Kids now. So that's exciting. So we hope to chat with them, and guys are pretty good about it. So.
The 2 Matts, Matt at 1st and Matt at 3rd, they could combine, hit a whole bunch of home runs on a regular basis. Saw what Olsen did last year in a short amount of time.
2-2 to Chad Pinder. Pinder going to be the super utility guy for the Athletics this year. He's assured a spot on this roster.
Well, with the possibility also, Cap, of a team carrying at least 7, maybe 8 relievers, you have to have the versatility. Somebody like Pinder who can play infield and outfield.
Yeah, we're going to spend a little more time kicking around that roster and the decisions the A's have to make, and it always comes down to 7 relievers or 8.
And a week from Saturday will be the final game of the Cactus League before the A's head back to the Bay Bridge Series. We'll have a Sunday game right here on NBC Sports, and you know, it's going to be fun back at the Bay Area. And it's Sunday afternoon before the A's and the Giants play the 2 games in San Francisco. And the season opener, Cap, I think you said it best. 2 weeks from today, a day game. First time since 1994 that the A's will play a day game on the home opener.
You know what, Ray? 2 weeks from right now, we'll be basking in an opening day victory,
right.
a late dinner with our family. Huh? What more could you ask? Pinder pops it up. It's up there somewhere. That's Mike Ford who reach up and makes the catch. So you think we're excited about opening day? You think we're looking forward to it? There you go.
That's it.
13 days, 16 hours, 9 minutes, and countdown. So yeah, we are excited. Not just us, the guys in the truck. We're together a lot for the whole year, and one of the things I enjoy the most, Ray, is getting to work with obviously you and all the guys in the truck, people that we really enjoy. We have a lot of fun together, and that makes this job even better than it already is. Because we are really kind of a traveling family for 6 months.
That's right. Larry and Tommy stuck in the back, along with Hoodie. And loving every minute of it.
1-0 to Lowry. 2-0 to Jed Lowry. Big season last year for Jed Lowry. It was great to see him stay healthy, and it's pretty simple with Jed Lowry. We know he's a very, very good player. If he stays healthy, he'll put up the numbers.
Absolutely. And not surprisingly, his first spring training hit was a patented double.
This one is skied towards center. That's Braden Bishop. He's got it. So Ariel Miranda has a 3-up, 3-down inning. We'll talk more A's baseball when we come back. No score after 1. Our fast pitch brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest Wi-Fi at home and on the go. AJ Puck had a good first inning, got a double play ball off the bat of Mitch Haniger, so he steps to the mound for his second inning of work. Bob Melvin hoping to get, if all goes well, 5 innings out of Puck today, and that would be.
Scott Emerson, the A's pitching coach, back for his first full year. Became the pitching coach mid-season last year. Said about 70 pitches, but he threw just 12 in the first inning. He doesn't throw a lot of pitches, and one thing Bob Melvin liked about him is the fact there is Emo, but he liked the fact that he's getting early contact, he being AJ Puck, and last inning, of course, the hit, then the double play on just 3 pitches, and then that 12-pitch inning. So a strikeout pitcher he can be, and that's what he did when he first signed a couple years ago, but more of a pitch to contact, which if you don't get solid contact, it's going to be a quick inning.
Looked like he went around, and he did. So on 3 pitches, Junior Lake strikes out. First strikeout for AJ Puck. Tried to hold up, couldn't do it. So 1 away here in the top of the second.
Well, you can tell he's fooled. Inside target, pitch a little bit away off speed. And on the check swing, leg could not hold up.
So 1 out. There's Scott Emerson. We call him Emo for obvious reasons.
Down in the bullpen and took over as a pitching coach.
Here's Mike Ford, strong left-handed hitter. So I'm going to force you to do something, Ray. Not easy to do. You're going to have to explain something. We talk about A.J. Puck. Well, is he going to make the team? And I think if you're a fan, you're saying, well, why not? I mean, come on. But there is, well, let's be realistic. There's money involved here.
Absolutely.
And it has a lot to do with service time. And you made a comment in the open of our show, and I want to make sure our viewers understand kind of what we're talking about. You said start the clock.
Yeah, it's a clock that, you know, for example, if A.J. Puck makes the ball club out of spring training, his clock starts immediately. That means service time.
Service time
is the clock. And, you know, I asked the skipper, Bob Melvin, I said, who would you compare it? He said, Matt Chapman. Chapman came up last year on June the 15th, his first game. So there's where the clock started for him. So essentially, he's playing now his first full season.
Exactly.
Last year, disregard, because even though he played 83 games, it does not constitute a full season. So the clock is important. The perfect example is Chris Bryant with the Cubs. You know, they were complaining about him because they felt he should have made the ball club out of spring training. He didn't. Chapman, of course, was a non-roster, as is the case with A.J. Puck, which means that he's not even on the roster. That's another part because options. You get 3 options as a player if you come to spring training, if you're on the roster. Well, A.J. Puck isn't even on the 40-man roster. He's a non-roster invitee, as Matt Chapman was. So essentially, A.J. Puck can pitch in San Francisco, or in Oakland, San Francisco. Remember, last couple years, Matt Chapman played, but he wasn't on the roster. The problem is if you bring a roster player and he gets hurt and he misses the whole season, he's on the roster and he has to be paid as a big league player and service time. But I think in the case of A.J. Puck, it's going to be hard not to have him on the club, especially the way he's pitching.
So it is I mean, it can be a little bit complicated, but basically, if Puck makes the team out of spring training, he's a free agent in 6 years.
6 years.
If Puck doesn't make the team and is called up in June, he's a free agent in what would be, I guess, 6.5 years.
Well, after
you would get him for an extra full year.
Right, exactly.
And that's really what these decisions are about, and it becomes a significant financial decision because you're talking about 6 years from now. If Puck is really, really good, you may be talking 10, 12, 15 million dollars.
Absolutely.
So that's the other side of, I guess, the business side of whether do you keep this young man, do you take him with you out of spring training, or do you send him to the minor leagues? So there's a lot of things involved.
And let's not forget also arbitration, because by essentially, if you get a half year, that year doesn't count, so you have to play 3.5 before you're eligible for arbitration, unless you become a Super 2, which is a whole different story. Yeah. But there's a lot of things, and I think kind of one of the biggest issues for every player, especially a young player, we all know that the game of baseball is a game of failure. You're going to fail. How do you handle it? You know, and the question is, let's say a pitcher makes the ball club and he struggles. Can he accept the fact that he's going back to the minor leagues and work on things to get back? I've seen some players in the past who basically made the ball club in the big leagues, went to the minor leagues, and never came back because they didn't know how to handle it.
Sure. So there's a lot that goes into this decision that the A's will have to make for that young man, A.J. Puck. Boss and Glenn Kuiper, our first telecast of this 2018 season of A's baseball on NBC Sports California. For the Athletics, their 50th year of spring training in Arizona. Now, it's their 51st year as the Oakland A's, so their first year, Ray, 1968, they went to Bradenton, Florida.
How about that?
And then they made the very smart decision of coming to the Valley of the Sun.
And I'm glad they did it before I got traded here too.
That's right.
Because I had a instruction league in Florida, and that is it.
Chris Davis goes after the first pitch, skies one into the darkness, and it'll come down into the glove of Mitch Haniger. So that is out number one. True story brought to you by McDonald's. September 15th through 19th of last year. Remember this, Matt Olson hit a home run in 5 consecutive games, tying a major league record for rookies. 24 home runs, 49 RBIs in 59 games last year for Matt Olson. He homered in each of his final 9 series from August 25th through September 24th. The only rookie in Major League history with 15 home runs over a 21-game stretch. It was quite a show, and it really, the show didn't run that long because he came up and then he missed the last, what, week or so. He was a little banged up.
Injury, yes.
But he is now entrenched at first base. That's got to be quite a feeling for Matt Olson. But man, he was fun to watch.
See those 2 home runs in spring training. His first at bat was a home run. So I mean, it's like, okay, I can prove that I can do it. But you know, one of the problems that happens, there's so much information, and he will be tested, as will all the players, especially he and Matt Chapman, in the corner positions, because they're new. They're trying to figure out what they can do. Matt Olson proved last year he could hit a lot of home runs. But one thing Keith Lippman has said for years, at least since Olson's been in the organization, Keith Lippman, the director of player development, he said this young man is patient. He knows how to hit, but he's also patient and a very, very calm individual. He's not very emotional. At least he doesn't show it, but he knows how to swing the bat.
Matt Olson is 24 years old. He will turn 25 on opening day, March 29th. So
they have the opener just for him March 29th.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to have a little birthday party at night, so
that's right. Have a day game.
The A's are going to have a home opener during the day. And Olson takes a close pitch. He walks, first base runner for the Athletics.
And that's pretty good. Lefty on lefty for Matt Olson.
And here is our first look at Stephen Piscotty. We're excited that he is a member of the Oakland Athletics. Of course, Piscotty, a East Bay kid, Amador Valley High School in Pleasanton, then to Stanford. Had some good seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals, but struggled last year. And you're saying, well, why would the Cardinals trade him? But the Cardinals have a little bit of a glut of outfielders, good young outfielders, and they felt like they had enough young outfielders where they could trade Piscotty, and he's back in the Bay Area, which is very exciting.
Well, a big hello to all his family and friends probably watching tonight's game. Mother and father, huge A's fans for many, many years. He said, Stephen, I know you probably, well, you weren't even born, he said, but we listen to you guys, you know, so that's fine. But it's great to have him with the A's, great to have him out on the East Bay. And I'm sure his parents are ecstatic that their son is going to be playing in the green and gold.
Line drive to Seager, he's got it, flips to first, not quite in time. So Piscotty hit that one right on the nose, but
you know, the one thing about Piscotty that we have seen so far this spring, you make a mistake with an off-speed pitch. He blasted a home run on a curveball last weekend, and this one off-speed, hammered it, but right to Seager. Quickly across the diamond. Good base running by Matt Olson, not getting too far off the bag on the line drive, so it was not doubled up. Piscotty's going to be a great addition to this ball club. He's going to play right field. Matt Joyce moving over to left, where he has played a lot.
Here's Matt Chapman. Chapman lines one, headed for the left field corner, and that'll get down into the corner. Here comes the big fella, Matt Olson. They're going to wave him home. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's going to be close, and he is safe as the ball squirts away from Freitas, the catcher, and the A's take a 1-0 lead. The big guy can move a little bit once he gets rolling.
You're right about the big guy part of it. And Matt Williams, we welcome Matt to the third base coaching box. Of course, many years across the bay. And with 2 outs, that's what good third base coaches will do. Down in the corner, got to be a couple of excellent throws. Matt Chapman did not waste any time down in the corner with a power double. And Matt Williams saying, the big boy, with Chapman easily going to third, he'll get a double. But Matt Olson, remember last year, he had to come out in his season because of a hamstring injury. This is a good sign to see him score from first on a double down the left field line.
Right on the outside corner to Jake Smolinski. Here's the play at the plate.
Well, this is tough on Freitas to have to reach, and he smartly pulled his hand back because it's like a first baseman having to reach for a ball and the runner hitting the left arm. Freitas, pretty smart play just to get out of the way, because it was going to be a bang-bang play anyway.
In the dirt, he's blocked by Freitas. Chapman. He has to head back to third. Jake Smolinski is having a nice spring.
Yes, he is.
He's got 8 hits and 25 at-bats. He's got 3 home runs. He's got 9 RBIs, and he's healthy. Last year, one of those years where Jake Smolinski was hurt, and he just probably never felt like he was part of the team.
He did not, and came a long way to see how strong he is this spring.
Jordan Motter, the second baseman, side retired. A's get a run on the 2-out double by Matt Chapman, and it's 1-0 after 2.
Play hooky with the A's on opening day. It starts at 1:05 p.m. It's against the Angels, Thursday, March the 29th. You have 2 weeks to figure out how you're going to get out of school or get out of work. Anyway, spend your day with Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, and the rest of the new look Oakland Athletics. Plus, the first 25,000 fans get a 50th anniversary wall hang. Go to athletics.com/tickets. I think, okay, you got to figure out a way to do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking about taking off work too and going to opening day.
Yeah, let's all go there. I mean, that's you think that only the second time in 41 years that there's been a day game on the home opener. And I know, having played back in Cleveland with your brother, and we'd have an opening day and an off day the next day because of the potentially bad weather. Well, the A's are doing it right this year by having a day game on the home opener, and fans get a chance. I mean, it should be a holiday. I think opening day should always be a holiday anyway.
Well, what's cool this year is everybody, all 30 teams are opening on that Thursday the 29th, which it used to be that way, but then national TV got involved a little bit. But I think it's great that everybody in Major League Baseball is opening up on the same day.
Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have to worry about March Madness, right? Because we're starting earlier.
Well, we'll be fine, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, normally we're going head-to-head because they have the first game on Sunday night, and then Monday.
Yeah, Saturday and Monday.
Right,
yeah,
right. But this way, find a way to be part of the special day, home opener during the day.
But I mean, the home opener, of course, that's great, and it's a day game this year. But let's not forget, I mean, the next night is going to be, that ball goes down, the bat. Everybody okay? Click the bat went into the dugout.
I don't know if we can see it or show it, but the A's, of course, a lot of teams have extended the screen, the netting beyond the dugout. But this bat is broken, goes right into the dugout, and all the guys standing up, that screen there is to protect them. What do? They stand up and just like shooting pigeons, you know, you're just standing right there. But the screens have been put up to protect the players. But the netting has been extended beyond the dugouts, which hit the Coliseum and throughout baseball, trying to protect the fans around the home player. There's the netting. You can see the post, and then extends kind of at an angle down towards the end of the dugout.
Line drive. Simeon cannot quite get it, headed toward left center field. Pender does a good job to cut it off and get it in quickly. So that's Evan White, the designated hitter for the Mariners, who has a leadoff single. So leadoff man aboard here in the top of the third for Seattle, and that'll bring up Braden Bishop in center field.
You can tell where White plays in the minors because he's got double ear flap.
Yeah, and probably a high number.
Yeah, but he got an off-speed pitch with 2 strikes and stayed back very nicely.
So here's Bishop, the center fielder. Second hit off puck so far. He's had 33 pitches. What I was saying, Ray, so Thursday, home opener, day game, awesome. The next game, Friday night, the A's will announce the 50 greatest players. And I mean, they're gonna announce all 50. And I mean, what more could you ask for first 2 games of the year? One is the home opener, which is always exciting.
Right.
And then the next night you have what is really a grand celebration that starts off a year full of celebration.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a great year throughout. And, of course, those players who are still playing, part of the 50th anniversary team, or players in general who cannot come, there'll be videos. They are showing them. Introduction of the players who will be in attendance.
So that's pretty good back-to-back entertainment right there.
Absolutely.
If you're a baseball fan, and specifically an A's fan. It's a 4-game series against the Angels. There'll be a day game then on Saturday and a day game on Sunday. And the Angels are going to be a pretty good team. Will Ohtani pitch against the A's in that first series? So that's a good weekend of baseball.
Right, and let's not forget also that Tim Lincecum, formerly with the Giants, now signed with the Rangers. They'll be in 4 games after the 4-game series. So 8 home games to start a season, which is unusual in itself, because usually they want to get as many home openers out of the way as quickly as possible. So the A's have a great schedule to start the campaign.
They sit right up the middle. White round second, but stays there. So Bishop shoots one up the middle. So a couple of hard hit balls off puck here in the third. 2 on, nobody out.
Well, back up the middle. Both balls hit very hard off of puck. And of course, with Lowry shading towards the middle, a little bit more shallow, not able to get to the ball, but hit hard enough that White had to stop at second. So you strike out, a double play, or a double play and a strikeout, and get out of the inning.
So top of the order, Gordon Beckham, who led off the game with a base hit. For A.J. Puck, overall, this is his 4th appearance, 3rd start. His last 2 appearances, he's gone 3 innings both times. So he will get well past that number. As Ray said, A's were hoping for 65 to 70 pitches from A.J. Puck. Good pitch there on the inside.
See, the one thing I've always felt, somebody like Puck, left-hander, tall, hard throwing, if he finishes, and that's always been my contention, if a left-hander finishes just like he did, hard inside, it's very hard for a hitter to make solid contact with that type of a pitch. He's still the hard slider down and in, good fastball.
Tapped foul. On deck is Mitch Haniger. Well, the Mariners 7-12-1 if you're into spring training records, which most of us are not. But man, are they banged up or what? I mean, I know it's spring training, and I don't know that any injuries are real serious, but Cano's hurt, Healy's hurt, Segura's hurt, Gamel's hurt, King Felix is hurt.
That's right.
I mean, these are important guys. And
Ichiro leading off.
Ichiro, the other night, Ichiro left the game in the first inning, and then somebody else left the game. Cano left, or one of their regulars. No, Segura left the game. Same game within 2 innings, so they're just trying to get themselves healthy. Smolinski back, still back, makes the catch. Both runners tag, and both runners are going to move up. So Beckham hit that ball well. Smolinski went back and to his left and made a nice play, but both runners move up.
You know, White hit a breaking ball for a base hit. Beckham, you watch this pitch on 2 strikes. Off-speed pitch, and typically, and again, more strikeouts last year, more home runs than ever before. But if it's a good hitter, they shorten up, and if you go soft, some sort of an off-speed pitch or a slider curveball, it's a hittable pitch. And we have seen a couple of hits in this inning hit very hard, and especially the one Beckham, the straightaway center that both runners could tag.
So Mitch Haniger steps up. Chapman in maybe a step, but not a lot at third. Olsen is in even with the bag at first. Middle infielders are normal position playing back.
A week ago Saturday, Puck had a run at third against the Padres with 1 out, got a big strikeout. And then there was a pass ball that allowed the runner to score for the unearned run. But these are situations, he's a strikeout pitcher. Pitch to contact, yes, as mentioned earlier, but also a strikeout pitcher. And this is what you want to see in this type of a situation.
Puck has 1 strikeout so far tonight. Also 1 walk through his 42 pitches. Good fastball, but missed inside. Jim Wolf is the home plate umpire. He will stay there all night, but the 3 base umpires, I know sometimes they do this in spring training where they will just kind of rotate.
Yep, they will.
Cover, switch maybe each inning and cover a different base just to stay awake maybe. 1 bounced foul. So 3-1 the count.
That's a good pitch on a green light, 3-0.
How about that?
Yeah. And a hitter. Haniger just a little bit too aggressive out in front of the ball.
On deck is Kyle Seager. Good breaking ball, and it's 3-2. Sharp slider, curve. What do you think, Ray?
Just it's off speed, kind of a curveball, slower, maybe change up, straight down. I mean, it's off speed, and that's the key because Haniger is sitting fastball away. That pitch alone helps in this particular sequence, and you can pitch carefully. You don't have to necessarily give into it.
And that one gets past Fegley. It's going to allow a run to score. Was it called a ball or a swinging strike? And they called it a ball, so they're saying Haniger did not go around, and the run comes in to score. That's White. Bishop goes to third, so it's a strikeout. Or I'm sorry, it's a walk, and the run scores on what should be a wild pitch.
It is a wild pitch. You see how the ball stayed down. Watch Fegley try to get down quickly, but the ball scooted along. The dirt could not block it. And instead of a double play being in order to prevent a run from scoring, the tying run does score. The first run given up by A.J. Puck this season. Now this is something right here that we're going to have to be conscious of. The trips to the mound.
Yeah, we're gonna mound counter.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be on the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, we'll have one.
But Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, we have seen so far this spring where umpires have actually pointed to both dugouts saying 1. But we're told that there's supposed to be a counter on the scoreboard, so just something else to add. Pay attention. So we're supposed to start at 6, go down to 1, and always remember that you get the extra innings, you get an extra trip per inning, and it does carry over. A lot of rules have changed.
First pitch to Seager. Runners at the corners. Outside corner strike. Well, we're going to cover that a little bit more as this game goes on, Ray. We're not going to let that one slide away, the mound visit rule, because that's interesting. Nothing else.
The nothing else part.
Cued off the end of the bat. So 1-1 to Seager, who bounced out in the first inning. We will chat with the manager, Bob Melvin, in the bottom of the third. So maybe we can let him know that he has chalked up one mound visit. Not him in general, but the A's as a group.
Well, it's almost to the point of you have to ask for permission, because we have seen in the past where an infielder might go in, clean his shoes a little bit, talk to the pitcher. Those things you can't do it anymore. Catchers can't go out. You know, how far can they walk out and yell before it constitutes a visit? I mean, there's a lot of things that it's all about pace of game. But I'm a strong believer, if you see something a pitcher's doing wrong, you can't go to the mound. He may give up a home run before you can change him or explain what he's doing incorrectly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, baseball is full of really wonderful, productive things to argue about. Yeah. And I think your point is very well taken. You were a catcher. There's times where, man, I got to go out there. I got to figure out what's going on. And, you know, the other side of the argument is, well, maybe he's got to figure it out himself, right? And, you know, so neither argument is really wrong, but we'll see.
You always knew as a catcher, and whether it's 5 starters, 8 relievers, or 7 relievers, you got a whole bunch of pitchers. And the idea for a catcher is to know the tendencies of each pitcher, to the point that in the case of Josh Phegley, he can look at A.J. Puck, and if he sees something that he's doing that he could correct it now by going out and visit, he's prohibited from doing that now. He pretty much has to wait to get in the dugout. And a lot of things can happen in the meantime. And you see a guy throwing 5 or 6, 7 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone, and you want to go out and give him a breather. Might have been a cross up. There's not a runner at second. That's not good.
So there is action in the A's bullpen. That's Eric Jokic.
We talked about 70 pitches, 61 that you're seeing, 51.
Foul back with the runner going. So one of those innings that, well, you watch Puck closely, and the good ones, or the great ones, have a kind of a magical way of minimizing big innings.
It's actually 62 now.
Well, it's been a bunch this inning. So 3-2. Henniger runs again. The ball's looped and foul, just out of the reach of Matt Chapman. So a couple of hits. Walk, wild pitch. And the Mariners have scored 1, and they're looking for more. Junior Lake waits in the on-deck circle. If it was the regular season, it would be Nelson Cruz. Right. So that's not an easy thing to think about. Another foul ball.
This is where Kyle Seager becomes a very good hitter, even against a lefty with the runner at third, less than 2 outs. Lefties do not bother him. As well as Phegley throws, he gets a good pitch and gets a strikeout. He could get out of the inning with a strikeout, not throw him out if Henniger continues to run.
Another 3-2 coming up. Here it is. And this one is going to be playable for Chapman. And just enough room, and that's a huge out.
And that's exactly what they look for in this situation. First and third. Of course, you like to see a double play, which you got in the first inning, but not. You get a pop-up or a strikeout to prevent the run from scoring. A long inning for him. especially after his club scored him a run in the bottom of the second.
So here is Junior Lake. Junior Lake struck out in the second. It's blocked by Fickler.
That's a big, big block. The first one got under the catcher's mitt. This one smothered it, put the glove down between his legs, and used his chest protector. Did a great job. As Jensen, even though his role has changed a little bit, he's down in the bullpen, but he'll work with the catchers, especially on blocking balls in the dirt.
Inside, Lake spins out of the way.
I think this would be considered one of those stress innings.
This is a high stress inning.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
He gets out of the way, the ball going for his belt buckle.
Defense straight away for Junior Lake, sitting on a 2-0 pitch. Here it is. Inside corner, 90 miles an hour for a strike.
Again, watch him finish the pitch, and that's the key. Hitters count like to look middle of the plate away, extend their arms. So if you can pitch inside effectively, you're going to have success.
And floating down and away. The Lake swings wildly at it. 2-2.
A good changeup. Pulled it perfectly, and keeping it away from Lake after the fastball in. Good sequence.
Trying to get out of this and allow just one run. So now a full count. That will allow Haniger, the runner at first, to take off.
Fourth full count this inning. That's why pitch count in this inning alone has been big. 26 pitches.
Payoff pitch to Lake. Here it is. Bounces it foul down the third baseline. Stands have filled in nicely for a Thursday night. So it'll be a very, very busy weekend here in the Valley. It's just that middle weekend of March seems to always be the most popular weekend, and of course St. Patrick's Day. Missed inside, close pitch. Lake walks, and the bases are loaded. And Bob Melvin is coming out. So that's going to be it for A.J. Puck. Ran into some trouble here in the third. Couple of hits, couple of walks, and he's going to leave with the bases loaded. So Eric Jokic coming in, another left-hander. We'll be back.
We make the sausages you crave.
So the Mariners have tied it, and they have the bases loaded, 2 outs. Mike Ford is the hitter. A.J. Puck is done for the night. A good first 2 innings, but a tough 3rd inning, and he threw a lot of pitches in that 3rd inning. So the new pitcher is Eric Jokic, left-hander. Jokic, first pitch to Ford is a bit outside. Spring training games, what you'll see a lot, Ray, is you'll see a guy that maybe is not scheduled to pitch, but he's kind of on call. Be ready in case the starter gets knocked out of the game earlier than we anticipate.
Right.
And then you got to get somebody like Eric Jokic in there to get out of the inning.
See his numbers. He signed as a minor league free agent, signed a contract with the Athletics, and trying to get out of this jam for A.J. Puck, who's given up his first run. Trying to keep it a tie game. But you're right, they did not have the scheduled pitchers, but those will not come in during an inning. They'd rather start the inning fresh. A lot of times you have a starter, a couple of starters pitching the game, but it's getting a little bit late.
Bounce just foul. So the count 2-2. Jokic was with the Diamondbacks organization last year. He has been to the big leagues, but very, very briefly. 4 games for the Cubs in 2014. It was his only time in the big leagues.
They used to call that a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
27 days.
And that one is belted, but fouled on the right field line.
Hanging breaking ball. And Ford out in front, fortunately for the A's. See, this is one thing that the A's, even though the bullpen's going to be very, very strong this year, this is part of what the A's do not want to see, where a starter has to come out, and maybe even during the season, the starter might come out in 3rd inning having thrown a lot of pitches and in a jam. 3-2 counts in this inning. Several for A.J. Puck. Another good block by Josh Fegley, keeping a run from scoring. Moved nicely to his left. Important thing, put the catcher's mitt on the ground between the legs. Use your body to block it. Not catch it, block it.
So big pitch, 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded. Bishop, Haniger, Lake are the runners, and here's the pitch. It's inside. He walked it. So Bishop trots in to score, and the Mariners now lead 2-1. So the very long half inning continues. That's not what the A's want.
And especially 2 hits to lead off the inning, but since then 3 walks, and that's what they don't like.
Same seats.
So here's Taylor Motter, the 8th Mariner to hit in this inning, and he takes outside. Strike zone, moving around a little bit right now.
Well, Taylor Motter got a haircut, but if he did, it grew out fast. Still as long as it was.
And a good rip at that one, fouls it back 1-1. More action in the A's bullpen, and Ray, you just said sometimes you see a starter maybe pitch in the middle of the game or toward the end of the game. It's Paul Blackburn who's warming up right now, and there's Blackburn, one of those guys who's fighting for a rotation spot. So we'll get to see Blackburn tonight at some point soon.
Yeah, maybe as soon as the 4th inning. Get out of this inning, and of course, as a starter who's coming in out of the bullpen, will start his throwing a little bit earlier, and that's why in this case Jokic has to come in to try to get out of this jam.
Is belted left field, down the line, and well gone, and that may have left the ballpark. So Taylor Motter with a grand slam for the Mariners, and just like that, it is 6-1 Seattle. That was Ray. That's I'm ahead in the count.
Yep.
I can do whatever I want with this pitch, and watch this swing.
Well, the pitch was up. He got his pitch. And I think everybody in the park knew it. And when you hit it like that, you know it's gone. And it was a no-doubter. And that's exactly what the A's did not want to see after 3 walks in this inning. Someone should leave the yard.
So here's Freitas. Tapper, and it is going to bounce foul.
Sure you want to have Bob Melvin on the bottom half of the inning?
So 6 runs here in the 3rd inning. 3 hits, 3 walks. Freitas hit a fly ball to left field. This is the catcher. Of course, Mike Zunino will be the Mariners' regular catcher. Not close. Well, what hurts this inning is Puck got a big out with Seager.
That's
Runners
right.
at first and third, 1 out. Seager comes up. Seager, great hitter, and Puck got him. But then he walked Junior Lake. He was out of the game. So maybe that Lake at bat. You always look back at these innings and I know I always like to pick an at bat where, you know what, that's the one that hurt.
Right.
Obviously, Motter's home run is the ultimate problem, but it hit him. It did.
We were talking about getting out of the inning with a 1-1 tie. And that's after getting a big out with Kyle Seager.
So Freitas is hit by a pitch and just got it. So now the 10th man to bat in this inning steps up, and it's Evan White who led off this inning with a base hit. Shoots one foul, heads up. Hit tart down the right field line. Just a little bit past the A's dugout. So 0-1 the count. Good pitch there by Jokic on the inside corner.
Well, White started this inning hitting a breaking ball, something soft. And that kind of started. And sometimes you're facing players that you might not be seeing during the regular season. And they're the ones that hit you the best.
So a good pitch there, but a big inning for the Mariners. We'll talk to the manager, Bob Melvin, when we come back. Manager of the Oakland A's, Bob Melvin. And Bob, appreciate you coming by. I know that was no fun, that last half inning. But A.J. Puck ends up going 2 2/3. He's going to be heavily scrutinized the final 2 weeks of this spring training. Obviously, the number's not great tonight, but what did you think? What did you see?
Yeah, you know, he's shown us that he can pitch a little differently. I mean, we know he's got 95, 98. We haven't really seen that yet this spring, and today in that last inning was mostly 90 to 92, but he's been getting some ground balls. He's been throwing a lot of changeup. I personally thought he threw a few too many breaking balls that inning, and you know, ended up throwing 36 pitches in the inning. So I got to go get him. You'd like to see him try to get out of his own inning, but you know, he's got a bright future with us, so I'm going to mess around with that many pitches.
You know, he just signed in 2016, and this being 2018. What have you seen this year compared to what maybe you saw in the past, and what he has learned to be where he is right now?
Yeah, no, he's got true starter stuff now. I mean, when we first saw him, it was fastball slider, and you're thinking, you know, maybe late inning relief stuff, but he is a true 4-pitch guy now. You didn't see his best stuff tonight. I mean, he's got an electric fastball. He's got good command of all his pitches, as he showed us. The poise is real good. We just kind of caught him on a bad, certainly just a bad inning.
Bob, let's talk a little bit about this roster breakdown now. And obviously, the Puck question, we don't know what's going to happen there, but you're going to have 5 starters, you know that. Does it look like you will carry 8 relievers? Because if you do carry that 8th reliever, it affects a position player spot down the end of the roster, correct?
It does. And you know what? Start the season, you know, depending on how many innings our starters have gone, how deep they've gone into games, maybe the prudent thing to do is go with 8 relievers to start. You certainly would like to have a 4-man bench with, you know, the moves that we make and some of the pinch hitting we do. But we feel like we're a little bit deeper in an everyday type of lineup now, and I think at least to start the season, the 8th inning eighth reliever might be the way to go.
And because of you just said about the lineup, do you foresee that perhaps would not be as much platooning because you have everyday players? How would that work out if you have the extra pitcher that you don't have the extra position player? How does that affect you as a manager of putting out the lineup?
Right. Well, as far as the platooning go, it's going to be much less this year. You look at our infield, and you know, all these guys are everyday players, and now with LaCroix, you know, he's going to get the brunt of the time at the plate too. You know, the Pinder and Joyce scenario on left, and you know, and maybe in center depending on Fowler, but those are probably the only 2 places we're looking at potentially platooning.
Yeah. So really, to simplify this as best we can for our viewers, if you have 8 relievers, that leaves you with 3 extra players, with 1 being Pinder, 2 being your backup catcher, and 3 being your extra outfielder. Is that pretty simple math? Is that about the way it works out?
That's about exactly the way it works out. So
you got a battle then between Powell, Canna, and Smolinski. 2 of those guys may not make this if you have 8 relievers.
Well, right, and it depends on the Fowler situation. If we feel like he's ready, you know, he's a little bit of a late start this spring. He's catching up on his bats right now. You know, basically missed a whole year last year, so he'll factor in as well. We love what he's doing right now. He's very graceful in the outfield. He runs well. He's stolen a couple bases this spring, and here the last few games that he's played, it looked like he's starting to see the ball a lot better too. So that position will factor in some with him as well.
Skip, you talked about the infield. Talk about Matt Olson at first, Matt Chapman at third, what you saw in them last year, what you expect to see them not only this year, but the future as your corner infielders.
Right, I like to always say that you never, you know, they're never going to be at their best the rookie year, but I don't know how Matt Olson can be much better than what he did. I don't think we can expect him to hit 80 home runs, but I think just as significantly as the defense on the corners. Yeah. I mean, we got 2 terrific defenders, and immediately that makes us a lot better defensively than we've probably seen in the last couple of years. So we're excited about both these guys at the corners.
Bob, offensively last year, 4th most home runs in the big league, so we know this team's going to hit home runs. In the American League, 9th in the league in runs scored, so you're going to hit home runs. There's a little room for improvement elsewhere as far as how you're going to score runs. What do you want to see this team do better when you take away the home runs, because you're going to hit those? Where do we need to be a little bit better?
I think we got to be a little bit better on the bases. You know, we were a little bit of a plodding team before, but you know, now with Fowler and you know, certainly with Marcus, now Franklin Barreto on his way up. You know, we have a bunch of athletic guys. We just sent Julio Mateo down. Yeah. I mean, we got some really athletic guys coming. We can be better on the base pass. Certainly we have to be better defensively, and I think that all starts with the two guys you see on the corner, because as soon as they got here last year, we were much better defensively. You know, we feel really good with Marcus and Jed up the middle, and you know, I think we could be better defensively in the outfield as well.
I think personally, I think we all think that the third base coaching job is a thankless job, because if you're successful, you're loved. If not, what did you see in Matt Williams? First of all, bringing him over to coach third base, but also in that play that we just saw with Olsen at first, Chapman hits a ball down the left field line, and Matt sends Matt Olsen.
Right, and you wouldn't think that Matt Olson's our speediest guy, but he gave Matty a chance to send him,
yeah,
especially with 2 outs, and Ole was running all the way from first. I mean, his intent was to score as soon as that ball was hit down the line. So Matty's going to be aggressive over there. He's got great instincts. He's been great over at third.
But let's see what Matt Williams does here. Fegley digging for third, and Matt Williams is going to hold him up.
Right, we're down some runs here. It's the right thing to do. So he's always had a great baseball sense. He's a terrific third base coach when he was in Arizona. I know from talking to Chip. He's one of the, you know, you don't get many Matt Williamses. They don't grow on trees. He was a great player. He's a great coach. He's a great manager. I mean, it's just everything he's done in baseball has been top notch. So we're lucky to get him.
Hey, Bob, how important is it to have on your coaching staff somebody with a resume as a player like Matt Williams?
Right, there are resumes, and then there are big resumes, and he had a big resume. And as soon as we agreed to terms with him, I started getting texts from our infielders like, wow, you know, as soon as he walks into a room, he has that type of presence. One, because that's who he is, and two, because his baseball card looks pretty good on the back as well.
So they were going to baseballreference.com and checking out
I don't think they needed to, but they probably did a little bit later.
But you know, Ron Washington, who you had, and we all know that he's a great infield coach. I talked to him this offseason. He said when the A's hired Matt Williams, he's going to help the other Matts, including Matt Olsen and Matt Chapman. How much do you see him helping, you know, in all aspects of the game, but especially defensively with a guy like Chapman at third base? I don't know if he needs that much help, but just having Matt Williams to be able to help all the infield.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities in those two. I mean, Matty was a terrific defender. When he came up, he was a shortstop and ended up moving over to third. So, you know, the defense was always there with him. Certainly power, and that kind of matches up with Chapman too. So you see them together quite a bit here in spring training, and working with Ole on the corner too. I don't know that we could have a better guy than Matty.
So 3-0 now to Lowry. The A's trying to make some noise here in the bottom of the third as we chat with the manager, Bob Melvin, who is now in his 7th full year with the Athletics.
You know, while we were talking about Matt Williams, Chad Pinder started the at-bat 0-2, takes it to 3-2, hits a double down the left field line. What do you see him? How much can he help you? Because he plays so many different positions, how much can that help you as a manager?
Well, as a 3-man bench, you have to have a guy like him, and he can literally play any position, less pitcher and catcher.
He could do that too.
He probably could. So at some point in time, we're going to have to find a third catcher. He might catch some bullpens here in spring training, but it's essential that you have somebody like him. And you know, we've been throwing a lot at him this spring. I mean, he's had to play third. He hasn't done much of that since college. He's had to play first, and he had to actually order a first baseman's glove to be able to do that. So he's been working hard. He wants to cut down his strikeouts, as you saw. You know, he goes from 0-2 to getting a big hit right there. So he's going to be a big part of our team. And
you got a new catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. I know there's been a lot of questions about him. When's he going to get in the game? But it sounds like that's going to happen quickly. How important was it for you with this young pitching staff to get a veteran catcher? And a lot of people didn't think Jonathan Lucroy would be available at this point, but you got a pretty good veteran catcher with Lucroy.
No doubt about it. And a guy that's known for his rapport with pitchers, his understanding of calling a game. He's got a high baseball IQ. Actually, Chris Davis told me he had a high baseball IQ. And he certainly does. You see him right now the whole game. He's been standing over there with Kendall. He already played in a minor league game today. He's been trying to play some catch up. We'll play him on Saturday. But if he can't go out and get starting pitching, the next best thing is getting a veteran catcher behind the plate that understands how to call a game.
So is he sprinting back and forth between Fitch Park and the ballpark here? Because he's all over the place.
I honestly have no idea how he's getting all the work in that he is. It's not like it's walking distance over to Fitch. So I see him here, I hear he's over there, and then I see him back here again. So he's trying to get as much work as he can to combat the time he's had off here this spring.
As a former catcher yourself, you know the importance of knowing your pitching staff, and you talked about as he's talking to the pitchers and catch as many as possible. How long does it take for someone like Jonathan Lucroy to get to know this pitching staff that he's going to have to catch. The hitting is not going to be a problem because he's been in the American League, but how about catching the staff?
Yeah, it takes a little while, but you know, here's a guy that's come in the middle of the season, teams like Texas, and learn the staff really quickly. And so, you know, you give him a couple weeks here in spring training, and it'll be a pretty smooth transition for him. Anybody that come in the middle of the season and be part of a playoff team a couple years ago shows you how quickly he can adapt, and we feel like it'll be pretty easy for him.
1-0 to Chris Davis. Davis hit a fly ball to right field here in the second. He's looking for a 2-out hit. On the lighter side, Bob, we did want to tell you that you have your team, Green and Gold, has made 1 mound visit so far. So we wanted to
thank you.
We wanted to update you. Now, is there a coach on your staff that's job is just, hey, make sure I know how many mound visits we've made? Somebody's got to keep track.
You know what? I'll probably end up writing it on the back of my card. Or you know what? I think we had all of 2 games where we had 6 mound visits last year, because taking out a pitcher does not count as a mound visit. So I really don't see that being a problem.
Wait a minute. You're telling me in the course of every game last year that the A's as a team only went to the mound more than 6 times twice?
Well, that doesn't include, you know, the position player doing it. So we'll have to see how that plays into it. But you know, there's been a lot of back and forth between the league, and there was a conference call with all the managers today to, you know, as long as you're not slowing the game down, you can have a little dialogue from the position player as long as he doesn't come to the mound and slow the game down. So I honestly, what I was telling our guys early on, and certainly Emo, you know, go ahead and make the mound visits like you normally do. In spring training here, let's see how it affects us toward the end of the game. I think we had 3 mound visits the other day in the first 2 innings, and we still had 2 left when you came down to the 8th or 9th inning. So I really don't feel like that will be much of a problem.
So it's like an NFL coach. Don't leave any timeouts in your pocket, right? I mean, you make sure you use all your mound visits.
No doubt, because it can be just as significant early in the game as it can be late in the game. You have a starter early in the game that's not into his rhythm yet. That's usually one of the first times that you want to go out there, is, you know, somewhere between 20 and 40 pitches to make sure they get into their rhythm.
And a pretty good job by Miranda. Bob, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Good luck this year.
All right, guys.
All right, so Bob Melvin, the manager, joining us. A's threat, but do not score. 6-1 Mariners after 3.
Moskowitz LLP. Aggressive, accessible, experienced tax attorneys. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL.
Welcome back to Hohokam Park. 6-1. The Mariners lead the A's. It's the top of the 4th inning on a nice night. A little on the cooler side, but still very comfortable as the outfield grassy berm. Always a great place to sit. People having fun out there. And we got a new pitcher. His name is Paul Blackburn. So we're going to see Paul Blackburn, who has a shot at the starting rotation.
Well, he came up last year and, as we know, did a phenomenal job and threw strikes, worked quickly, and of course lived in the Bay Area, and unfortunately had to curtail his season and had taken a line drive back off his hand, but did a great job, and just hope that he can continue doing what he did last year.
Blackburn, he showed us something last year. We were impressed. So far this spring, this is his 5th appearance.
Beards must be in.
Beards are in.
Because Blackburn last year was clean shaven. Comes to spring training with the beard, but he did a good job. And I think the important thing, pitch to contact, not like that, especially with 2 strikes. Try to keep the ball down, try to keep the ball on the ground.
So that's Braden Bishop who gets his 2nd hit. So Bishop hitting out of the 9th spot. Well, Battle of the Bay kicks off with the A's and the Giants at the Coliseum, presented by Coors Light. Game time is Sunday, March 25th at 1:05. Yeah, we're going to televise that game as well. Grab your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. The bigger the mountain, the better the reward. Whatever your mountain, climb on. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Great beer, great responsibility. So that is the first of that 3-game Bay Bridge exhibition series, not to be confused with the regular season, the 2 3-game series that would be played. So that is coming up, and when those games are played, well, then we know we're super close to the regular season.
This is going to be a passed ball, and just one of those that had a little movement on the pitch, but should have been caught by Josh Fegley. It was not. Advances runner into scoring position, and that is one thing a catcher does not like to have in that stat pack, the passed balls, the PB, but it is something that does happen, but you just have to concentrate on every pitch, and sometimes get a bit lax, and all of a sudden the ball scoots away. Josh is a good catcher. He moves quite well, and that's what you have to do. That time the ball just moved a little bit extra.
Gordon Beckham is the hitter. Fisted foul.
One thing that Beckham's trying to do with the runner at second base, and you'll see that a lot, especially Beckham, a player who's been around quite a bit, but he knows the importance of advancing the runner from second to third, nobody out, trying a couple of times to go to right field. Field kind of shifted him towards the right side.
So 1-2 the count to Beckham, who is singled and hit a fly ball to center field. So we did have a little fun with the manager, talking about, of course, the new rules with the mound visits, which it's part of the deal. And whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter, because it's part of it. An effort to hopefully speed up the game just a little bit, which has been kind of an ongoing controversy now for really 3 or 4 years. But it kind of came to a head, Gray, simply because last year the average time a game was 3 hours and 5 minutes, highest in Major League Baseball history. So,
and they started the pace of play last year with the intentional walk, just go to first base and try to do some different things, and it's still 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of those baseball conversations that you can get a lot of different opinions on. I still think it is simply the pitcher and the batter.
Pitcher throwing strikes.
Pitcher, well, and just taking time. But you're right. More strikes would certainly help. You have a record amount of strikeouts being recorded. A lot of strikeouts. You're going to have a lot of pitches thrown if you have a lot of strikeouts.
You look in the last inning, which 10 batters went to the plate, 5 3-2 counts.
There you go. And 3 walks.
And you can't do anything about that. I mean, you could do all you want, around different things to speed up the game.
Yeah.
But if the pitcher doesn't throw strikes,
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
That's exactly right. So this is the mound visit rule change. Mound visits without a pitching change shall be limited to 6 per team per 9 innings, 1 additional visit per extra inning played. And the definition of a mound visit: manager, coach, player leaving position, pitcher leaving mound to confer with a player. That's also a mound visit. How about that? And as with most of these, there are some provisions. But if a team runs out of visits, the home plate umpire can, upon request, allow a mound visit by the catcher due to a cross-up of signals. So that is one of those, hey, cross-up, I don't want anybody getting hurt. If you need to go out and talk to your pitcher, you can. So it's just, it's a new wrinkle. How much it'll make a difference, that remains to be seen.
But there are 2 catchers, one with the Cubs, one with the Angels, both of who said, I will go to the mound as much as I want. And then the next day, the rule came down and said, well, if you go too many times, it's going to be, you have to take out the pitcher. So whatever you say, the rules can be changed. It's kind of ongoing with the rules as the season progresses. You can get ejected.
Runner goes, and the ball is hit foul.
But I read that one pitcher, once the rule came down about the cross-ups, he said there'd be a lot of hit batters because then there's going to be time taken, and you can go talk to your catcher. Well, I don't think you want to put somebody on base just to be able to talk to your catcher. But
but you're allowed, yeah. If there's a cross-up that happened, you are allowed to go out there and talk.
Dead ball, umpire gets hit. The catcher usually wants to buy him some time, so he'll walk to the mound. That is not counted. So there's a lot of things, but.
And Haniger strikes out. So Blackburn, after Bishop got to second base with nobody out, strikes out Beckham and Haniger.
Let's not forget also that if you've been a starting pitcher, now all of a sudden you're coming in out of the bullpen, things do change. It's a little bit different for you. Of course, in the All-Star game, you see where managers are taking more relief pitchers because they can get ready to come into the game quicker. But a starter, as we saw with Blackburn warming up while Jokic was in the game.
So here's Seager, who is 0 for 2. There's that big overhand curve from Blackburn, but it stays hot. Somebody made a great point, and it was sort of in jest, but it was still true. They said, you don't want to speed up the game? Take the Velcro off players' batting gloves.
Yeah. Or eliminate batting gloves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's, you laugh, but then you realize that it actually made some sense.
Kyle Seager is not doing it. But you see a lot of guys who step out and they adjust the Velcro, they'll open it up, put it back. And for what? I mean, you put your batting gloves on, you adjust the Velcro, it should be fine. But I heard someone say, okay, and I think it's a very perhaps valid point. We found out with Mark Canha last year that when he had a walk-off home run, we were talking to him, he said, I was channeling my inner thoughts on my previous home run so
you can't argue with him, right?
But
we're going to channel our inner thoughts to Jonathan Lucroy. The new ace catcher is going to join us when we come back. 6-1 Mariners.
% off and huge doorbuster deals starting now.
6-1 Mariners, bottom of the 4th inning from Hohokam Park. As the A's come to bat here in the 4th, it'll be Olson, Piscotty, and Chapman. Their second at bat. Miranda has done a pretty good job. The A's with 1 run. That came on a 2-out double by Chapman in the 2nd inning. He's walked 1. He has struck out a pair. Pitch. Slider for a strike. Well, we're joined downstairs by the new catcher for the Athletics, Jonathan Lucroy. Jonathan, how you doing? And welcome to the Oakland A's.
Hey guys, I'm doing pretty good. How y'all doing?
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and I know it's been a busy couple days for you. Bob was talking about how you're running back and forth between the minor league complex, so you're getting your at-bats, just not quite at the big league level yet. Is that correct?
That's right. You know, I'm just trying to get some, see some velo, see some breaking stuff, just getting there. And the minor league side's so, so convenient. It's only not even a mile down the road, and you can go out there and, I got 9 at-bats today, so, I'm a big believer in quantity, man, and get out there and see some live pitching and try to get my timing down and get my swing going, and that way I can just roll right into the big league games and not miss anything too much.
Well, I will say you look great in the green and gold. Now, I have to ask you, as a very good catcher that you have been throughout your career, why did you decide the Oakland A's?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, there wasn't too many opportunities out there. There wasn't too many teams that were looking for starting catching. There was a few early, and they signed guys early. And the A's were kind of, they're in a situation where, we looked at rosters, we looked at a lot of things. And I actually brought the idea up to my agent, hey, what about the Oakland? Maybe they need somebody back there that can help them out. And we called them, and they're all interested. So it was definitely, I think it was a fit for both sides.
But Jonathan, how strange was it? I mean, you're an all-star catcher, and then your first shot really at free agency, I believe, and this weird off-season happens. Was there some concern on your part about, hey, what the heck is going on here? Because it's now February and it's now March, and I still don't have a team.
Yeah, I mean, it was really weird. This was just, I think there's a lot of different reasons why it happened like this, and I had a bad year last year, so I think that was part of it. But I think there are other factors in there as well. And I know there's just so many good players that were out there that were free agents way too long. I mean, there's still guys out there that are really good players, and it's tough because obviously when we go out and play, you want to play against the best players in the world, and and for a while there it wasn't like that. I mean, I still think there's some players out there that are still really talented players that need jobs, need spots. So hopefully those guys get picked up.
You talked about the fit and talking to your agent about this ball club. You were with the Rangers last year. What did you see with the A's that makes you believe that this team could surprise some teams in the American League and throughout baseball?
Well, they got a young staff, and I think that'd be the biggest challenge is the pitching. If we can pitch, I really think we're going to be successful. We're going to sneak up on some people. Now, defensively and offensively, I think this team is very good. I know calling a game against these guys, you make mistakes, they punish you. Young team, full of fire, full of grit. Playing against them, you always see that these guys have fun. They play together. They got a good coaching staff here, and definitely something that, as a player, it's fun to be a part of. And I think going back to the pitching side of it, if we can pitch, I think we're going to be competitive. I think we're going to hang in this division. I mean, we got a good division. Obviously, the Astros are going to be the team. But like I said, if we can pitch, and I plan on being a big part of that and trying to help these guys through as much as I can, I think we might sneak up on some people.
But Jonathan, even though you spent a lot of your career in the National League, we have seen you a lot. And we've also seen a very, very hard-nosed player, and also a guy who's not afraid to get after his own pitchers. Tell us about that, because we've seen you go out there and say, let's go, come on. So there's something about your leadership quality behind the home plate that we think is going to work with this young A's pitching staff.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes you got to grab guys. You got to shake them a little bit. And, I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I need to be shaken up. I mean, that's just the way we are as humans. And, with the kind of talent that's on this team, especially on that mound, we got guys out there that need to harness their ability. And sometimes you got to snap them out of it. Some guys you got to hold their hand, some guys you got to slap their butt, some guys you got to get in their face a little bit and motivate them. I mean, that's just the way it goes. This game is hard, man. It's really hard. And if you're not out there ready to rock and ready to attack, you're going to get hurt. So, My job behind the plate is to motivate these guys and try to get the best out of them every night, day in and day out.
Now, Jonathan, one of the things, of course, you know yourself as a catcher, and you talked about the pitching staff being a part of handling the pitchers. Offense, obviously, is a very important part of all positions. Now, how do you separate, especially coming to a new ball club now, to where you know that your important job is to handle a pitching staff, you still want to hit. How do you separate the two, get enough work in to be able to do both?
Man, I've been doing it long enough now that you just kind of got to, you know, I was taught a long time ago that, you know, being a catcher, you got to be able to separate things. You can't take at bats, you know, behind the plate. You can't take, you know, if you make an error or something bad happens, you can't take it with you when you go up to hit. You got to be able to separate the two, and that's something that I've really tried to focus on a lot. You know, is if you as a catcher, you got to be unselfish. You got to be unselfish, and if I take my bat with me behind the plate, or vice versa, that's just me being a selfish player, a bad teammate, and I can't let that happen.
He's got a chance to get a run, and they will get a run, but Chapman thrown out at third. So Piscotty is able to come in and score. Chapman, I believe, was called out. Was he not?
Yes, he was called out going to third. He thought the throw was going to the plate. It ended up going to third, which was a smart play on the Mariners' part. But
so Piscotty scores. That was the second out at third base. So it is a 6-2 game, and give Chapman another RBI, but he is erased on the bases.
Vision with Jonathan Lucroy, A's new catcher. But Jonathan, I know that, you know, separating the two is great, but being the dynamic catcher that you are, how much, and I know you're going to put all your effort into being the catcher to handle pitching staff, and even though you were traded midseason last year and the year before, it's a little bit different now taking over a new staff at the beginning. How does that work, having had the experience last couple of years, traded midseason, and now coming to spring training trying to learn a new staff?
It's just getting to know these guys. I mean, doing my homework on them. Communication's a big thing. I mean, obviously, I try to talk to every one of them if I can. Our schedules don't sometimes match up, but for the most part, we, you know, like that's why I'm in a dugout. Like, maybe I could have, like the other day, I was down in the bullpen catching bullpens. Yeah. Right now, I'm in a dugout trying to talk to guys. You know, I've been visiting with Graveman, trying to talk to him a little bit, see what he likes to do, and you know, just get a good feel for what he tries to do. I know from facing him, I know what he likes to do, but as far as behind the plate, I want to be able to know what he's thinking, what he's feeling. Try to get, you know, his personality, how to motivate him. You know, I'm just trying to pick him apart, and not just with him, but with all the guys, all the arms we got. So, you know, it's catching's all communication. You got to be able to communicate with the guys. You got to be able to talk to them. Knowing personalities, almost psychology a little bit in there, and I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just communication, man. You got to be able to talk to them and be open yourself for them to be able to come to you. That's really good too.
Jonathan, thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to have you. Good luck this year. All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, that is the new A's catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. He's going to run at 6-2 after 4.
for opening day game at the Coliseum against the Angels. Following night, we'll honor the 50 greatest players with 7:05 start and free pet calendar for 10,000 fans, presented by Avoderm Natural and Nylabone. And on Saturday, that's a day game, 15,000 fans get a light up fireworks Coliseum snow globe, and it will continue right until Sunday. And that will be a 1:05 start. All 4 games against the Angels. Be a part of opening weekend. Athletics.com/tickets. And there's the snow globe. That is a beautiful sight.
I love that snow globe.
Oh, I think that's going to be great. We'll give one to Jack with his flat bill cap. Huh?
Well, I'm not giving him mine. I know that. He's my son, but sorry, buddy. So that's the big weekend that we talked about earlier, Rand. It is going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Obviously, opening day that's a thrill on its own, but the rest of the weekend is great. And that first home game scene. So,
well, I like the part where he said play hooky, and I think that's a great way to do it. There is Sheldon Noisy. What a star! He was part of the celebration. Start of the game, picked up a ring. The Midland Rockhound Club, 4 consecutive championships. Was part of that. Introduced tonight. Congratulations, but picked up last year in the trade. Sheldon Noisy having a great spring.
Bob Melvin talked about it.
Yeah, and matter of fact, he got a chance to play a lot at the beginning when Matt Chapman was not able to play. He had to go back to the Bay Area to get a shot.
There he is. Sheldon Noisy. Big, strong kid, huh?
Very big. Knows how to hit, uses the whole field.
Two and 2 the count. Mike Ford as Paul Blackburn's into his second inning of work.
One thing about spring training, and what's most fun about opening day, is that you get your scorebook and you don't have to make changes. Except for an occasional pinch hit. But as the skipper said, those who will be playing tomorrow, it'll be a day game tomorrow against the Tribe here in Mesa. He said some of the players who will be playing tomorrow will play about a half a game tonight and get ready for tomorrow. It's always great about the Bay Bridge series. The A's get a chance to get the big stadiums, the Coliseum, as well as over in San Francisco, and play some night games. Get accustomed to the night lights and the big stadiums, which is always very important. Back to the Bay Area, get acclimated, see the great field that Claywood put together. All the rain in the Bay Area, I'm sure, is making everything nice and green.
Well, the A's currently have 48 players in camp. They started with 59, so they had a fairly significant cut down after Sunday's game. But remember last year there was 72 players in camp to start. This year the A's started with 59, so that's a big difference.
Now, one of the players that was reacquired from Kansas City Royals, Brandon Moss, who was here for a little while, then designated for assignment, became a free agent. He did say that he didn't get a major league job, he probably would retire. Wish him the best. He's one of the good guys.
Tell you what, Brandon Moss had some big hits.
Huge hits.
In an A's uniform.
None bigger than 2 home runs in 2014. The play-in game in Kansas City with a bad hit.
Good inning for Paul Blackburn. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. He's trying to make the A's rotation. We'll be back.
Chapman, a couple of doubles tonight, driving in a couple of runs. This ball down the left field corner. And the aggressive third base coach, Matt Williams, first year with the Athletics, scoring Matt Olson from first base. Chapman going to third, and then came up his last at bat, another double to left center field, driving into. Oh, there he is, too.
Yeah, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and Matt Chapman gets to talk to us. All right, we'll get Matt hooked up here in just a moment as the A's come to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be Fegley, Simeon, and Pinder. Looks like a new pitcher. It looks like Mike Morin. Mike Morin, who used to pitch with the Angels. So here's the first pitch to Fegley. So Matt Chapman is hooked up downstairs. Matt, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. I got to get this off my chest. So we had an event on Saturday night, and Sean Manai and Matt Joyce were there representing the Athletics. They were great. And they said, who's the guy who's like the funniest guy in the clubhouse? Like the guy who really cuts everybody up. And Ray and I were just waiting for the answer. And you know who they said? Matt Chapman. And you haven't even played a full year, so life is good for Matt Chapman.
Life's pretty good. I guess I made my impression felt.
Yeah, they didn't even think about it. They went right to Matt Chapman as being the funnest and the funniest guy in the clubhouse. So
it could be worse, I guess.
As they say, you got that going for you, which is nice.
You know, Matt, you know, congratulations on a great first half of the season last year, and of course different for you in spring training. But you know, I thought what Chris Davis said about you being a leader on this ball club and being a young player, something that you did when the Angels were in town and you had that confrontation at home plate, and unfortunately you got ejected. But what does that mean to you to have a veteran say that you are a leader and can even be a better leader as you progress?
It means a lot. I mean, I guess it means I'm definitely trending in the right direction, but you know, I never want to push too hard to do something like that. I think it's something you got to just kind of let happen, but it's something that throughout my career I want to be one of those guys, and I want to be somebody that did things the right way and that your teammates look to and can turn to, and you know, say that, you know, follow that guy and do what he does because he's doing things the right way.
Matt, you are so good defensively. Obviously there's a lot of natural ability, but there's also probably a lot of hard work put in, and you got a great arm. But tell us about when you were a youngster, how naturally the defensive and the great arm came to you.
Definitely a lot of hard work goes behind it, a lot more than, you know, people would think. But as a young kid, I think defense was something that was really stressed, and something we really worked on was the fundamentals. And got to give a shout out to my dad for helping me learn how to play infield and hitting me all those ground balls and teaching me how to do things the right way. And I think as I kind of grew up and got stronger, my arm strength started to really grow. I think it happened in college a lot when I started to mature, but I think the throwing motion and the hands and the feet were all there, and then it was just a matter of repetition and just keeping kind of getting stronger and growing to kind of just help it all come to what you see now.
You know, we were talking to the skipper about Matt Williams, the A's new third base coach, and a very good player in himself as a hitter and a third baseman. What have you seen with Matt Williams working with him as you have so far this spring?
A lot. He's definitely ready to work. He'll do as much as you want. You know, every time he hits me ground balls, I never tell him that I want to end. I let him say it first, and he thought I was going to tell him when I wanted it to end. So we were out there taking ground balls for God knows how long. But it's a lot of fun. He's done a lot of things that I aspire to do, and he's kind of seems like a good leader and just kind of does things the right way, kind of a hard-nosed, old-school baseball player, somebody that I definitely look up to and I'm just excited to work with.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I know Ray and I, talking off the air many times, have said you remind us very much of a young Matt Williams when Matt came up in, I guess, the late 80s. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, and it's fun that you now are working with the guy who, telling you, I mean, you look just like Matt Williams when Matt Williams was 25 years old, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a good thing, because he had a terrific career.
Well,
so what do you like about this A's team? It's young. You guys seem to have a good time, but I think what's kind of fun about it is you see young guys who are coming up together. So you've played with a lot of these guys for 2-3 years in the minor leagues. That has to carry over, and it has to carry over to the big leagues, where not only are you guys fun, but you're pretty darn good too. How much does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me. It's definitely fun to kind of come up together with all these guys. You guys have a history. We've done a lot of stuff together in the minor leagues, on and off the field. We kind of have a pretty good bond, and I think it's kind of creating a little bit of a culture around here, and I think everybody's kind of jumping on board and sees what we're capable of. And you know, we may be young, and a lot of people might not know us, but you know, a lot of good players were young before and unheard of. So hopefully we can kind of just be that group of guys that came up together and, you know, turn some heads. You know, we might not have some of the signs or some of the big free agent guys that all the other teams in our division have, but we have a lot of guys that are pulling from the same end of the rope and that are kind of bought in, and we like to have fun and we have a good time, but we're also ready to work. So I think that's exciting, and I think those are all things that are kind of important on a winning ball club and a team that can, you know, do some damage.
You know, one of the things we were talking about the last couple of years, you've gone to the Bay Bridge Series as a non-roster player, and you've been able to play. What did that mean to you to do that, but also to be able to come to spring training this spring and have the type of spring you had in your first year?
It meant a lot to go to the Bay Bridge the last 2 years and play in San Francisco and play in Oakland and kind of get that taste of what it's really like, and it makes you hungrier if that was even possible. But this year, obviously, it's a little bit of a different feel. You know, I may be on the team already, but I still feel like I have a lot to prove, and I know that that's a feeling that a lot of guys have on our team, that we still have a lot to prove, and we want to show everybody what we're capable of. So it's exciting.
Well, Matt, we're excited to have you for a full season and then many, many more after that. So we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, the terrific third baseman, Matt Chapman. Thanks for joining us. So we got some changes, which we'll get to you as we roll along. We're not going to rush it here in spring training.
No. Better not.
We're not going to.
Because this is something starting 2 weeks from today will not be happening.
Diving attempt by the new second baseman for the A's. No, that's Steve Lombardozzi. We'll get to those changes. See, our guys are good. That is Steve Lombardozzi. He's now at second. Nick Allen is at short, and Nick Martini is in left field. Lombardozzi, Allen, Martini. So those are the new players.
And as the skipper said, Nick Allen is a magician. He can play. So there are several minor league players that the system is going very well. A lot of very good players. Jorge Mateo was sent out, and that kid can fly.
Yeah.
When you're on a scale of 20 to 80, and you're an 80 runner, that means you're the best there is. And just watching him run, glide, it's impressive.
1-0 pitch from Blackburn. And it's rolled foul. Ray, with Blackburn going into his third inning of work, he's done a good job. We should probably spend a little time talking about the starting rotation situation, which we did earlier with A.J. Puck, but Graveman and Minaya are locks, and they're going to go 1 and 2. But that's where, after those two, the question marks start to pop up. Now, obviously, Puck is a possibility. We saw him, but Jarrell Cotton, who pitched well against the Giants the other day, but after the game, his elbow started bothering him. There was a dip in velocity, and he's had some initial appointments with the doctors, and he's going to get some second opinion, or he's going to get a second opinion. But I think the A's are very, very concerned with the elbow of Jarrell Cotton.
Absolutely, and well, should be. And remember last year he had to end his season because of an elbow problem. He threw 13 consecutive changeups because that's the only pitch he could throw basically without really hurting him that much. And he struck out 3 batters, which was, hey, that's great, but didn't know that his elbow was bothering him, similar to what's happening now.
So you got to figure that takes Jarrell Cotton out of the picture at least for a while. Blackburn pitching right now. You have Megden, you have Treggs. So could it be Graveman, Manaea, Megden, Triggs, Blackburn? Possible.
Daniel Gossett would like
Gossett's
to have something to
in
say
there,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Chris Bassett coming off Tommy John surgery. He's back, but he has not pitched for a while. Competitive.
So again, these are all decisions that need to be made in the next couple weeks, and I think Blackburn has a pretty good shot.
And you know what's interesting is Miro Petit, who signed with the A's in the offseason, a 2-year contract. Talk about a swing guy. He can go as a starter or reliever. It's got to be tempting, but he's so valuable out of the A's bullpen because he can throw multiple innings. Just like Pagan, who the A's acquired from the Mariners for Ryan Healy. But, you know, you can't waste your bullpen. And I think that's where the starters, Dave Stewart, great starter for the Athletics, winning at least 20 games 4 consecutive years, was here speaking to them. Thought it was interesting the comment that was made about Sean Manaea, Mr. Nice Guy. But after talking to Dave Stewart with the death stare, you know, become a little bit a different pitcher.
I know, Stu scares me just looking at him.
But a great individual, but he'd love to pitch. But I think the starters, as the season progresses, I don't know that they're going to enjoy having people saying, well, you have a great bullpen, you're not going to have to pitch deep in the game. You know, that's not the prerogative of a starter. You want to go as deep as possible, knowing that your bullpen cannot carry the load in the course of a season by pitching every day. You have to have some length in your starters.
Yeah, I mean, a possibility, as Bob Melvin said earlier, with carrying 8 pitchers, which certainly looks like it could happen. You have Petit and Pagan, who are both very good relievers, and what they are is they're guys that can throw more than 1 inning. They're guys that can throw 2 innings, maybe even 3. But it's possible that even with those 2 guys, the A's still may carry another guy, maybe a starter who doesn't make the rotation, because they're concerned that they may need even more innings. Runner goes, throw to second, right there, got it. What a throw by Fegley, and that was impressive. Lombardozzi got it, put the tag down, side, retired. So another good inning for Paul Blackburn. We like to see that. Bottom of the 6th coming up, 6-2, Mariners lead. Remote and get live stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. Bottom of the 6th, Mariners 6, A's 2. Ray, what do you got for us?
The mini big play of the day brought to you by your California Mini dealers. How about a strike him out, throw him out? Listen to Joe Wolfson. Whoo, strike. And there's Josh Feckley with a perfect throw to second base. Don't look back, young man, because that's strike 3. Street is running. Of course, that was expecting contact from his hitter, which did not get. So Josh Feckley showing off his very strong arm after Paul Blackburn got his 4th strikeout.
So Blackburn, a good outing so far. So 6-2, bottom of the 6th. And this is Nick Vincent, who will be part of the Mariners bullpen. We've seen Vincent a fair amount the last couple of years. Nick Vincent, pretty good year last year, 3-3 with a 3.20 ERA.
I tell you, it's got to be disappointing. You mentioned the injuries to the Mariners ball club, some key players. And of course, it's spring training. Get a chance to get ready, but a lot of expectations. Remember, before last year, the president said enough of the get the playoffs. How about world champions? That's a lot of pressure put on a team. Astros were the world champions after losing a lot of games not long ago. There's Dustin Fowler, who, young man who A's have high expectations for him.
Broken bat, little pop up behind first, and so Fowler is retired. Yeah, I think the A's trying to be patient with Fowler.
Yeah. Yes.
But then again, at some point, I think, you know, in the next week to 10 days, they're going to start to need to see probably a little bit more production.
And the good thing, Matt Joyce had been bothered by a little tightness in his right elbow, his throwing elbow, but he said tonight it's okay, everything's fine, so that's good news. Because there was some concern about him. But abundance of outfielders. Right now, it looks like center field it's Fowler's job if everything is okay.
Yeah.
And Smolensky's having a great spring. Different guys are, so we'll see what happens. But I'm glad we're sitting up here and not having to make those decisions, because that's got to be some tough ones.
And Boog Powell, of course, did a pretty good job for the A's last year. The thing with Boog Powell is he bats left-handed just like Fowler does. But I saw this note, Ray, on the Seattle Mariners, and we see the Mariners a lot, obviously, every year, 19 games, and you know, he's seemed he's put a pretty good team on the field on paper, but yet it doesn't always turn out to be a lot of wins. They have gone 16 straight years without reaching the postseason. Yeah. Last time was 2001. That is the longest playoff drought in all 4 major sports.
Hard to believe.
NBA, NHL, NFL, and obviously Major League Baseball. And we don't say that to make them feel bad, but and this is a team that has a lot of good players year in and year out. When was the last time they rebuilt, right? They haven't. I mean, they never really break it down and rebuild. So it's really surprising that they, with the amount of good players that they have had in the last 15 years, that they have not gone to the postseason since 2000.
Well, and the postseason.
It's
yeah,
hard
we're
to believe.
talking about World Series.
Just postseason. They've never been to the World Series.
Yeah, the Indians have not won a World Series since '48, but they've been down to Game 7 and 16 against the Cubs. But it's unbelievable. You think about that many years.
It really is. I mean, when you say the Cleveland Browns have been to the playoffs before the Seattle Mariners have, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And that's obviously has to be very, very frustrating for what really is a good organization in a really good sports town.
So when the president says World Series or bust, and you haven't been to postseason in 16 years, let's just get there. Because once you get to October, anything can happen. And you just hope to get hot at the right time. And if you do, you got a pretty good chance of being world champions.
And the Mariners added Ryan Healy and Dee Gordon. They traded for Dee Gordon. They're going to play him in center field. So they have, when you look at their everyday players at each spot on the field, and it's a very, very good team. It should be a team that wins a fair amount of games. We shall see. Good inning for Nick Vincent. We're on to the 7th from Mesa, 6-2 Seattle. Face off in the Bay Bridge Series, but this year the stakes will be raised. Find out how with a special announcement coming March 26th. A's and the Giants will play 6 games this year. They'll play a 3-game series right before the All-Star break in San Francisco. That's July 13, 14, 15. And then the 4-day All-Star break, and then they will play 3-game series at the Coliseum July 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So the 2 3-game series will bookend the All-Star break. How about that? That one is bounced fair. Noisy, long throw, and they got it. What a play by Sheldon Noisy.
A very good play, getting to the ball, keeping it from going down the corner for a double, but probably the most impressive thing was using the infield grass, keeping the ball down, catching, and watch this throw. It slips a little bit, but a perfect one-hopper to first base. And that is a tremendous play. It might have even been a foul ball, but it went over the bag. Could have been a double. Instead, it's an out on a spectacular play on Gordon Becker. And how you get Noisy out of N-U-E-S-E, I don't know, but that's how they pronounce it. He's a good player. Sheldon Noisy has had a very good spring.
Paul Blackburn's having a very good night. 3 1/3 innings. He's allowed 1 hit. He's got 5 strikeouts. So these are the kind of outings that will get you in the rotation.
And especially coming in the way he has come into this game, and you'd like to get somebody, and really what Bob Melvin and Scott Emerson are hoping for. The outfielder Anthony Garcia, Slade Heathcock is at first. He's having a good spring as well. But, you know, if you have trouble with your starter, regardless of when it is, if you can get somebody to come in the game and shut down the offense of the opposition, give your club a chance to come back, that's what you want to see. And Blackburn's got a chance to be in the rotation, but it's a very good job coming out of the bullpen to shut down the Mariners and giving his club a chance to come back.
So 2 outs here in the 7th, and here's Kyle Seager. So Kyle Seager getting his 4th at bat tonight. Generally, the first week and a half, spring training, the regulars, maybe 2 at bats, and then about midway through spring training, 3. Every once in a while, they'll sneak in 4th, and then that final week, maybe final 4 or 5 days, they will try to play some full games.
Pretty good chance that tomorrow Kyle Seager will have the day off. We'll get some workout, a little hitting. That will be it. He will play a lot at third for Scott Service. Like you said, that middle part of the lineup does not change for the Mariners.
Nope.
Cano, Cruz, Seager, right in the middle. get some guys to set the table for those three guys.
2-0 pitch, and a good one right at the knees. Well, you could probably make the argument that the American League West is baseball's toughest division.
Well, the Astros are going to have Justin Verlander for a whole year, and they just traded for Garrett Cole. It's a pretty good staff.
Astros 101 wins last year in the regular season, and of course the World Series. Angels finished at 80 and 82 last year, but I like what the Angels have done this year.
Right.
I think that lineup has become very, very tough. It's, of course, at least on paper.
It's all about pitching. They're thinking six-man rotation, as are the Texas Rangers, which Cole Hamels didn't like that, but Shohei Ohtani added to the Mariners, perhaps caused that. But you know, pitching is always important, and you look at the lineup of the Angels, they've always had a very good offensive lineup. Their bullpen has been used a lot, but if they get pitching, starting pitching, they have not won a World Series since 2002.
And the Mariners and the Rangers both finished 78-84 last year. So the only team that was above 500 last year was the world champion Houston Astros, but I think that'll probably change this year.
A's baseball for spring training is always live with MLB at Bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB at Bat now. It's your #1 A's app. It's always a good app. At Bat app.
So 2 out, Seager aboard. And here's Junior Lake. Easy to like the Yankees, of course, with what they did last year, and then they added Stanton. And the Yankees are lined up to be good for a long time now. You may not like to hear that, but the reality is they have a sensational minor league system and a really good big league team. That's just the way it is, folks. They're going to be a force for a while.
And Dave Dombrowski, the president, man in charge of the Red Sox, signed J.D. Martinez, and they kind of said, okay, you can do it, we can do it. And so that should be a very good division, perhaps the top 2 teams, although the Orioles and the Blue Jays will have something to say about it. Tampa Bay Rays always seem to be pretty good.
Indians won 102 games last year. Lost to the Yankees in the division series. That was a very disappointing finish to the year for the Indians, but they will be very good again. And let's not forget that the Twins made the postseason last year. How about that? Stephen Piscotty is going to join us when we come back, the A's new right fielder. Terrific performance tonight from Paul Blackburn. A matchup against Sporting KC. Coverage begins Saturday at 5:30 on NBC Sports Bay Area Plus. The home of the authentic Quakes fan is NBC Sports Bay Area. So we have reached the bottom of the 7th inning here at Hohokam Park, and we're pleased to be joined by the A's new right fielder, Stephen Piscotty. We could say welcome home to Stephen Piscotty, who's from the East Bay, Pleasanton, and we're thrilled to have you, and I'm sure you are thrilled to be back home in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's a pretty exciting thing to get to play for your hometown team. Not many guys get that opportunity, so I'm very grateful for it. Really excited for the season.
Yeah, that's an important statement you just made, because a lot of guys don't like to go home because the ticket demands and you got the family and the friends. But from your standpoint, growing up as an A's fan, how special is it to know that you basically get to play for a team that you grew up watching?
Yeah, it's incredibly special. I spent a lot of my childhood at the Coliseum, going to games, and to be playing right field and all be playing right field is a really cool feeling, and I'm excited. Really for this Bay Series coming up, the exhibition games, just getting out there. I've never gotten to play at the Coliseum. My brothers have in like high school and stuff, but I haven't.
Speaking of high school, Amador Valley, from that tough EBAL and then on to Stanford. So tell us about a little bit more about growing up in the Bay Area, spending your days at the Coliseum, but also playing amateur in all your high school and college sports in the Bay Area.
I was born in Livermore and played Little League there. Played some Camp Parks, or some Babe Ruth baseball at Camp Parks, and then the Danville Hoots for travel ball, high school at Amador Valley, and college at Stanford. So I've had a lot of innings, a lot of games in the Bay Area of baseball. So it's cool to continue that, and I've had tremendous memories growing up in the Bay Area, and it's such a special feeling to come home.
The one thing I know I asked you about when you're playing the Padres, there's a guy in the Padres dugout wearing number 25 that you're wearing on your back. Talk about that number and how that number has been with you for quite a while.
Yeah, it was my college number, and so those were some special times for me, and so the number does have some special meaning for that reason. Also, one of my favorite players growing up was Mark McGuire, and he was a blast to watch. And I know a few guys have kind of worn the number over the years, and I didn't want to step on any toes, but it felt right, and so I went with it.
Well, he hit 363 home runs, so that's got to be a good number. You're a power hitter. I mean, you've shown that power this spring, so that's got to be special.
Yeah, I'm working on that. He's got a few more to his name than I do, but maybe one day I can catch him, but we'll see.
And Stephen, of course, well documented, your mother battling illness, and I saw a great picture where she was getting bundled up and getting ready to come down to spring training.
That's right.
And I know that was a while ago. Is she still here, or how long was she here, and how's she doing? Because we're looking forward to meeting your mom, and I know she's going to be at the Coliseum a lot.
Yeah, of course. And I know she's watching, so I'm going to say hello right now. Hey, Mom. Yeah, she came down the first week of spring and saw a couple games, saw my first hit here as an Oakland A, and that was no easy trip, and she came down. My youngest brother Austin was playing at ASU, and so was able to see both of us play. So it was a really special weekend, and if she can come down 11 hours to watch some games, I know she can drive 30 minutes to the ballpark. So we're excited about that.
All right, so Ray and I need to be good this year for your mom then, because she's going to be watching us a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll try to tighten it up a little bit. Hey, Stephen, welcome to the Bay Area. Welcome back to the Bay Area. We're thrilled to have you. I know you're going to be here a long time, so good luck this year.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, so class act Stephen Piscotty, and we're thrilled to have him.
Athletics are proud to announce the Treehouse. It's a brand new party deck with an indoor and outdoor bar, games, and food. Attend every A's regular season game in the Treehouse. How about this? For just $29 monthly. Includes general admission, seating in the outfield sections. For more information, as always, visit athletics.com. That's going to be a special, special place. The Treehouse.
How awesome is that?
And you can do it for that inexpensively. That's a deal. I mean, the party, the Treehouse should be a party house.
It should be.
For about 81 home games.
I'm telling you. And remember, if you have any ticket in the ballpark, you're in the ballpark, you got your ticket, whether you're sitting behind home plate or upper deck, doesn't matter.
That's right.
You can walk down to the Treehouse and go in.
That's right.
So
special place.
It's open for everybody. And it's just a fun place, really, just to hang out.
And I think we're going to have some of our pregame people up there. Post-game will be having some. They're going to have that set up. Talking to Matt Pearl.
Uncle Townie is going to do a lot of radio up there, so it's going to be a fun place, and I think A's fans are going to enjoy it. And we go to all these stadiums, right? A lot of the new stadiums, and there's always an area where people stand, hang out, have a drink, have some food, but they're always having a good time because they're just hanging out. Seattle, how about the party deck in Seattle? And most of the new ballparks have these places, and Cleveland, and that's what you're going to see at the Coliseum.
Fan experience.
It's just a fun place to go, as opposed to just sitting in your seat for 9 innings. People like to, hey, I'm going to go out, walk around for a while. I'm going to go out to the Treehouse.
It's a good time.
Yep.
Along those lines, here's a young man, Sean Murphy. This kid is very well respected as a receiver. Bob Melvin, of course, former catcher himself, saying this kid can catch and throw. His hitting's coming around, and he should be the future of this organization. But, speaking about a lot of great things happening, on May the 8th, that's the 50th anniversary of Catfish Hunter's perfect game. And the A's will be home playing the Astros, I think. Monty Moore, great Monty Moore, sent me the interview that he and Al Helfer did, mostly Monty, with Catfish Hunter after his perfect game.
Nice.
In May the 8th, 1968. Perfect game by Jim Catfish Hunter, the great Monty Moore on the call with the perfect game. And Monty, of course, we hope will be up for that special occasion.
Well, you know why that's cool is because there was no TV, and there's only a couple still photographs of he's in the clubhouse and holding up the baseball, but there really isn't a couple pictures of the perfect game.
And unfortunately, both Catfish and Jim Pagliarone, the battery, passed away.
That's Taylor Motter, who had a grand slam earlier tonight, and he's got a double as he bounces up into the stands. So that's a one-out double. That's hit number 7.
But
for the Mariners.
We talked about the 50th anniversary team as once again this all-speed pitch, bringing the ball down and into Motter, hammers it down the left field line. That 50th anniversary team that's going to be introduced on Friday night, March the 30th. You think about the people around the players themselves, like the managers. Dick Williams, Hall of Fame. Tony Russo, Hall of Fame. Alvin Dart, part of that 72, 73, 74 championship. Art Howe, Ken Mockin, Steve Vucinich, Monty Moore, broadcaster. All those great people, Roy Steele, PA announcer. So a lot of great people in addition to those 50 players, the 50th anniversary team. So it should be a fun summer, and that's just one of the events that the A's will celebrate, the 50th anniversary of Catfish's perfect game.
Oh, 0-1 to Tuffy go switch.
You think about that too, Kai. Right after that, May the 10th. Or May was it May the 9th, 2010, when Dallas Braden pitched his perfect game.
Yep.
So a lot of good things happening and some special times throughout this 2018 season at the Coliseum.
0-2. Pitcher for the A's is their new left-hander, Ryan Buchter. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the lefties with Danny Coulomb in the bullpen. Came over from the Kansas City Royals. Along with him. If I said Daniel, I apologize. It's
Danny.
It's Danny. It's Danny Coulomb. No
you
more
said
Daniel.
Danny.
I thought I did.
Yeah, you did. You're in mid-season form.
Yeah, well, Danny Coulomb, and my name is Danny. Don't call me Daniel Coulomb.
That's right.
That ended last year. I did an interview on the radio side. Towards the end, he says, "My name's Danny."
Well, it was like Dick Allen. Remember Dick
That's
Allen
right,
wanted
Richie.
to call Richie out.
That's right.
No, was it
Richie, don't call me. Call me
Richie,
Dick.
don't call me Dick Allen.
That's right. You talk about the strongest man in baseball. Woof.
He was awesome. Popped up. Buchter was with the Padres and then was traded to the Kansas City Royals, and he is good. I mean, you may not have heard a lot about him because he with the Padres and then just a little bit of time with the Royals, but the A's very much in need of another left-hander, and really what ended up happening, they had to take Brandon Moss and some of Brandon Moss's contract to get Buchter.
A lot of it.
and so the A's are going to owe Brandon Moss about $5 million, but it was kind of the price to do business if you wanted Buchter, and the Royals said, okay, you want him? Then you're going to have to take Brandon Moss and most of his contract. So sometimes that happens. But he's got a chance to be a big part of the A's bullpen. Ryan Buchter. Broken bat, slowly hit. Noisy has it, throws on the run. So that's the second out.
Look at Noisy playing third base, following Matt Chapman. There's some very good defensive third basemen coming in for the Athletics. And Noisy with Matt Chapman, very, very strong arm, but just catching this ball and on the move, throwing a bullet over to first base. So Sheldon Noisy getting a chance to play a lot, and another very good player. You know, we're talking to Matt Chapman. He and Nolan Arenado played together, and with Arenado at third base, that's why Chapman was in short, because Arenado is an excellent third base. We get a chance to see him this year when the A's play the Rockies in interleague play.
We go to Colorado.
Yeah. Nolan Arenado, one of the excellent players in baseball. Third baseman, perennial Gold Glove. Third baseman, can hit, complete package.
1-0 pitch. You know, talking about the bullpen, Ray, with Buchter aboard, you got Trinan, Hatcher, Pagan, Petit, Buchter, Casilla, Hendricks. So my math tells me that's 7.
Put Coulomb in there?
So, no. So now you got 7, right?
Yeah.
Danny Coulomb would be 8. Now, if the A's decide to, as we talked about, take maybe a starter and put him in the bullpen as the long guy, well, then you would have to put whoever that is named on that list. Does that then take away Coulomb, or do you keep Coulomb and the long man, and does that leave somebody else in limbo? So there's a couple moving parts in that bullpen. I don't think that the question has been answered yet.
You're exactly right.
Do you keep the 2 lefties?
I think you almost have to have 2 lefties in the bullpen. And Danny Coulomb did a great job last year, almost as a solo, especially after Sean Doolittle was traded.
Yeah.
He handled the duties, and so did Buchter. But
let's not forget Ryan Dull, although Ryan Dull is battling some shoulder, and he's just starting to throw. So he is not going to be available at the beginning of the year. But as Bob said earlier, very, very good chance that the A's will carry the 8 pitchers, and it's just a matter of which ones are they going to be. That one is belted. Left center field, and just enough room for Jake Smolinski at the warning track. He makes the catch. Side retired, bottom of the 8th coming up. Run third inning for the Mariners, a grand slam by Taylor Motter. That was the big blow. 6-7-0 for the Mariners. The A's with 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth, 2-7-0 for the Athletics. So Miranda went 4. Paul Blackburn went 4 very, very good innings. 6 strikeouts in 4 innings pitched. A.J. Puck started. He went 2 2/3 innings and got knocked around in the third inning. Puck ended up giving up 4 runs. So a couple of lines on the young guys trying to make the starting rotation for the Athletics. And we are 2 weeks away from opening day at the Coliseum again. Thursday, March 29th, 1:05 first pitch, the A's and the Angels. So we're looking forward to that.
You know, one of the things that's always said, you don't pay attention to spring training or the month of September, but I think when you have a rotation, there's competition, especially out of a 5-man rotation. The A's have not decided to go to 6. They're going to have a 5-man rotation. You've got 3 spots maybe that you're thinking about, and that's where spring training can play an important role in deciding who's going to be on the staff.
Yeah, I think every time any of these potential starters steps on the mound, it is very, very important for them. Wyatt Mills, 3rd-round pick last year. So he's going to get a little big league time in. One and 2 the count. This is Nick Allen, who is the A's shortstop.
Well, as Bob Melvin talked about, this is one of the young men that has speed, and you're going to see some speed coming up through the system. Mateo fly, a guy named Merrill who can fly. I mean, that's going to change the dynamics of really the whole philosophy. Right, Christensen, who is he was fast. He had the inside the park home run down the right field line at the Coliseum. Bench coach for.
Could you give me an exact date on that? I think you have it somewhere.
Bob Melvin has him as his bench coach, and Ryan Christensen up through the system and as a player, minor league manager, a lot of success, and 4 consecutive championships by the Midland Rockouts. He was a manager 2 years ago. Last year he was with the Nashville team.
Pretty impressive.
Yes, and good baseball man, and I would say that he will be a manager sometime in his future. But you know what happens when you're a bench coach? That means you have to organize spring training.
Yeah, that's not easy.
No, it's not. The worst thing, and everybody says, well, you don't have anybody standing around, have them on the move all the time, and everything's coordinated. But he got a lot of help.
Here's your speed, right?
Yeah. Got a lot of help from Mark Kotze, who did it last year. Mike Andretti's been involved, so some guys on the staff helped him out.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like, 60 players, and each one of those 60 players has to be somewhere at a certain time, at a specific field, and somebody has to coordinate that each and every day for 35 days.
That's right. And the best thing will be for Ryan Christensen and the staff get back to the Bay Bridge series, because you have a day and 2 night games.
Yeah, that's true. Spring training this year, from the day it started to the day the A's will leave, 39 days long, which is actually a little bit shorter than usual. If there's such thing as a usual spring training, it was 43 days, but the season starting a little sooner this year. Actually, spring training just a little bit shorter, which I think most everybody is fine with.
Well, the position players reported on a Monday, and they played their first game on a Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's the 3 or 4 days right there.
2 full off days, and I thought it was interesting that the season this year will have 4 additional off days for the A's. I have 24, including the All-Star break of 4 days. But Kendall Graveman, who pitched last Saturday, a week ago, or last Saturday, they had an off day on Friday, and that would have been 2 weeks ago. But he made it a point of saying that he normally likes to throw on the day before he pitches, just to kind of get the arm angle, keep it going. And he did not on that off day, because he said with the additional off days that you wanted to see, well, he had no control, no feel for the baseball. So I would say that he will, as anybody has a routine, he'll continue that routine even with an off day prior to a start that he makes. That's one of the new changes in baseball this year, the number of off days.
That's right, 4 extra off days throughout the schedule. So a 3-up, 3-down inning. The A's do nothing in the bottom of the 8th. We are moving to the 9th. Mariners lead 6-2. A's broadcast on your desktop or mobile device. A's games streamed on the go on the NBC Sports app. We have reached the 9th inning. That group is hanging in there, trying really hard to annoy each other, probably working, but they don't care because it's spring training. St. Patty's Day weekend. Danny Colomb comes in. 5th appearance here in the spring.
See that ERA right there? That's a quality start. 6 innings, 3 runs, 4.5 ERA.
Get out of there. Well, we're looking forward to the 2018 season. With Billy Beane said not long ago he thinks it's the best collection of young talent that he has seen with the A's since the Hudson, Mulder, Zito, Chavez, Tejada group, which pretty darn good. But I think what's exciting, Ray, is you kind of have a pretty good idea who's going to be out there for the A's and their young players, but there is another wave of minor league players who are extremely talented, and that next wave maybe, you know, realistically maybe a year or 2 away. So that's what you want to do, is you want to have waves of young players coming, and that's what I think makes the future exciting. Is it's not just what's there right now, but it's what is over at the minor league complex.
Absolutely, and that's the way you have to do it in Major League Baseball. And you know, of course, we all read this offseason about teams and not signing a lot of the free agents. And Danny Coulomb gets a strikeout in his first batter that he faces with a good curveball right over the top. But you look at the A's, I mean, essentially an organization has 3 years in which they have a player under control. And the Astros, who won the World Series, just renewed the contracts of Correa, the shortstop, Bregman, the third baseman. But after you hit arbitration of free agency, but the Astros in 2013 lost over 100 games. Last year, the world champions. What they did, they developed their players. minor league players came up and they became very good major league players. Then they supplemented the roster with veterans this offseason prior to 17, and they win the World Series. And then they go out and make a couple of trades, Verlander and Garrett Cole. But you know, you have to start somewhere. And if you can develop players like Olsen and Chapman for first and third, you got Piscotty under contract, you got Fowler acquired in the Sonny Gray trade, you got Matt Joyce second year, you got strength up the middle defensively, you got a great bullpen. So you can develop a very good organization, players, by doing it that way. You're eventually going to have to pay them.
Yeah, at some point you will have some decisions to make, and that will happen with the Astros because you got Springer and Correa and Altuve, Bregman. Next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have to start paying those guys a lot of money. And I think Chris Davis is a perfect example. If you wonder about what happens when you get to arbitration, we've seen Chris Davis have 2 terrific seasons with the A's. Well, after his first terrific season, he was arbitration eligible for the first time, and his salary went from $530 to $5 million.
That's right.
You know what? Good for him.
Yeah.
Well, he had another huge season last year. Second year of arbitration, he goes from $5 million to $10 million.
That's right.
Now he's got 1 more year of arbitration after this year, and he's going to have a big year, and his salary's going to continue that climb.
Sure.
And that is where the A's will have to make a decision.
Exactly.
But that's what happens with arbitration if you're a really, really good player.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, the arbitration, I remember the late Charlie Finley said arbitration would be the death of baseball. But if you think about arbitration, you could play 3 years and you may stay very close to the minimum salary, but just like you said, first year of eligibility.
If you're a good player, you're going to increase 300, 400, 500%.
Exactly.
Something like that. 1-2 the count. This is Kirk Neuenhuis who's hitting for the second time. Cologne, fastball a little up and in. Not a bad pitch. Neuenhuis with the base hit. So 2-out hit.
And Danny, of course, wants to have success against the lefties. That pitch left up and in. A cut fastball that he throws, but did not get it where he wanted it. And House did a good job bringing his hands in to hit it solidly up the middle.
So this hitter is Seth Mejias Breen.
You're good, man.
Yeah. Although I could be wrong. I just picked out what I thought was the coolest name to say, and
that's good. You did a good job. Great job.
But this could very easily be Jonathan Mendoza. No? Okay.
I liked your first.
No, it's Seth Mejias Breen. Or that could be my next door neighbor's name, right? There's that good sharp breaking ball from Daniel Coulomb. It's tough having just one left-hander in the bullpen.
Very tough, yeah.
Because there are times, 5th inning, 6th inning, where you have a key point in the game and you have, pick whatever team you're playing, you know. I mean, who's got a big left-handed hitter? And you can't go to Buchter in the 5th or 6th inning. I mean, you could, but you probably don't want to. And you need your second left-hander to get some big outs. It may not happen every night, but it will happen enough where that second left-hander becomes important. Nice play, jump throw, got him. Nick Allen, he's a magician. Did you see that?
That's a great play.
Oh, that was sweet. Attaboy, Nick.
Kearney Lansford, light of blue. Well, now here is your chance. The day before the A's open the 2018 season, the A's will host their 50th anniversary team gala featuring notable alumni from and front office executives. Celebrate the legacy of the Oakland A's and the upcoming season at this baseball chic event. For more information, visit athletics.com/gala. That's athletics.com/gala. 50 members, and on my count, I think there's about 30 at this time scheduled to appear, to be introduced.
I know one who's going to be introduced.
As soon as I am, I'm going to come right up to the booth to be with you.
That's good.
That's right.
Congratulations. So that's a pretty big honor, and I know it means a lot to you.
Very nice. Thank you.
That is indeed, folks, Ryan Cook. And Ryan Cook, unfortunately for the A's, for a short period of time, but he was really good. Just kind of got away from him.
And it's a matter of throwing strikes.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Let's not forget that Ryan Cook was an all-star for the Athletics, and he looked like he was going to be a setup man for many, many years, but just kind of got off the tracks a little bit. He's trying, and he has really not been able to regain anything close to the form he had for that short period of time with the Athletics. He had a put-away slider.
That's it. Well, in 12, you look at those guys, Balfour and Doolittle and Cook. I mean, these guys just out of the bullpen. Give me the ball. Let's go. Forget about resting after a couple of starts or appearances. Just pitch every day.
Facing Bo Taylor, left-handed hitting catcher. Six to 2. All the runs for the Mariners came in the third inning, and that's the inning they knocked A.J. Puck out. There's that slider down. So we will be back with you on television. One more exhibition game. That'll be March 25th at the Coliseum. A's Giants, the first of the 3 Bay Bridge Series exhibition games. So the A's, who usually host the last of those 3, this year are hosting the first of the 3. Right there with a fastball strike 3 call. And that's not that far away.
No, it's not. It's a good fastball, a slight movement, but pretty much down the middle.
Well, the A's will play in San Francisco on the 26th and 27th. That's Monday and Tuesday. 28th on the Wednesday is an off day. And then the home opener, 105 on the 29th. So get your tickets for any of the 4 games that weekend. Of course, Thursday is the home opener, and then Friday night, the first night game of the year. Some of those folks will probably be there. Good pitch right at the knees.
The interesting thing, we talked about Shohei Ohtani, who's with the Angels.
Yeah.
He's a non-roster invitee. They got a clear spot.
Is he
for
really?
Him. Yeah.
Oh.
Because he came over and he's essentially a player in camp, but he's also minimum salary.
Yeah.
And if he'd waited 2 years, he could have come over here and taken the big. So give him a lot of credit because
I agree.
Because he decided he wanted to play Major League Baseball, and he took a big cut to come here because he could have waited and made a boatload. But should be fun to watch him.
Yeah, we don't know yet if he will pitch against the A's in that 4-game series, but he is going to be in their rotation, so there's a fairly decent chance we would see him. We don't know yet.
A 4-game series with a possible 6-man rotation. We'll see what Mike Scioscia decides to do.
It would be fun to watch him pitch. Big hop. Nice play at second by the gentleman that we mentioned earlier, Mahi Esprits.
I think you got it perfectly, Part. I mean,
of course, it did look a little bit like Jonathan Mendoza. So 2 outs. And here is Heathcott, his first at bat. Hit hard into right field, the base hit.
He's been doing that all spring.
Slade Heathcott getting a shot. So a 2-out hit keeps the game rolling.
Get a fastball, you like what you see, you jump on it and hit it hard enough to get it through the infield, even with the shift. You know, the surprising thing, that first couple of weeks I thought, wow, baseball is good because there's no shifts. Then all of a sudden, here they come.
Yeah, just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Here's Sheldon Noisy. Big swing by Noisy. The situation with Noisy is the A's really like what they see. Not sure what position that he would play, but the bat may carry him.
Well, one of the 50 greats, Mark Ellis, has been in camp. He's been working with him at second base. Plays third. But if the bat's good enough, they'll find the spot.
The bat will play.
Yeah. And Ellie, one of the camp instructors, along with Dave Stewart, Ricky Henderson. Solid base hit up the middle. There's one thing about Noisy. He is very strong, and that's what he does a lot, up the middle, opposite field. Make a mistake, pull it to seats. Very strong young man from the Nationals.
Jake Smolinski getting a complete game tonight. He is grounded out and struck out twice. Smolinski trying to make this team as an extra outfielder. First pitch is in there, first strike. We have seen Smolinski play center field enough, and that leads us to believe that I think he can do it.
Yeah, and
he does a pretty good job of it.
You know, the one thing about him, we talked about playing against lefties, he's had his most success this spring against right-handed pitchers. His home runs have come against righties, but facing a very tough one now.
So Heathcott shoots over to third base, first and third.
Don't get thrown out with 4 runs down.
That would not be a good idea.
All right. Mid-season form right there.
That's right. I came to spring training. I am not leaving. Toward third. Tough hop. Throw to first. Dug out. That's the ball game. So, exhibition baseball between the A's and the Mariners ends with the Mariners' victory. 8,143 tonight here at Hoboken Park. And they see the Seattle Mariners defeat the Oakland Athletics. Final score of 6-2. Stick around. We'll come back to Hoboken Park, Ray and I, right after this.